Hi, Leathur Rokk here. Welcome to my channel. I'm doing this live stream live from the Bally's Hotel Casino in Atlantic City. And just because I can, you want to see the view? Check this out. I hope you can see it. There might be too much glare. Up here you can see the ocean, resorts. You can see the Hard Rock Hotel Casino. You can see the Atlantic Palace. Here is the Claridge, and I'm going to be doing a news item. I'm going to tell you about that. So I'm going to put my little pedestal right here so that I can get reasonably comfortable. I've got some news items for you, but you know what? Actually, I think maybe it would be good for me to do it this way because I'm going to have some things I actually am going to have to read off, and I hope you can see me okay. All right, first of all, I would like to do some Atlantic City news that you're not going to hear from any other place. Now, did you know that we have a library here, the Atlantic City Free Public Library, and it is on Tennessee Avenue, and they now have COVID hours of operation. I'm a little out of breath. Okay, now they're going to be allowing clients 15 minutes to browse, take out their materials. They are going to be allowing computer users 15, 20, 30-minute opportunities to surf the internet, do whatever. Now, are they going to do something about the noise? That remains to be seen. Other things I want to report. There was a suicide a couple of days ago off the Claridge Hotel Casino. We had a jumper. Unfortunately, there was at least 2 witnesses. One of them was an employee. The other was a police officer. And yes, they had to scrape somebody off the sidewalk. They did notify their next of kin, but I would hate to look out the window and see that. Okay, in other news, on the 11th of this month, there were gunshots. I heard out my own window. It was a pop, 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 and I do believe there was 1 or 2 fatalities. But, and I assumed that we had, like a lot of cities have these special devices that actually can hear when there's gunshots. And usually you hear the police soon after, but we didn't see the police activity. I don't know if they caught the people involved. They never seems to reduce the amount of dirt balls out my door. And it's been as heavy as usual. We've had some beautiful weather. Today was a beautiful day. And you had the gangs were out selling their stuff. So things don't change in the ghetto. Believe me, COVID doesn't seem to be making an impact against that. Hi, Tiger. Good to see you. For those of you watching, I do have a live studio audience. You can expect that when I'm broadcasting from the casinos. I was trying to film in more public areas earlier, but that's when they decided to turn the music on. I would have had a really beautiful view of the boardwalk earlier, and it was gorgeous. But all of a sudden, when the sun went down, then they turned the music on. And then I think when it was ready for them to close, they have ways of telling us that take your drinks and go. So, you know. Anyway, it would have been nice. Maybe sometime I will stream from there. And then, of course, there's a big, beautiful background that those of you that have been watching my channel for a long time, that place where I did the beautiful makeup tutorial, that big, beautiful background, that bathroom, it is open now. But the thing is, they don't open very late. And if you think you're going to show up here at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you're going to be disappointed because they're going to lock it. So maybe when the clubs open up and the dance floors open up, maybe it will be open late again, but they have not been having it open. So don't make the mistake I did it just showing up there late in the wee hours. Again, you won't get in. Unless they're having conventions and stuff. And they're really not doing too much of that now because of the COVID. So now I'm going to give you some more information. They have been doing a lot of polling of visitors of the city of Atlantic City. And now as of March 8th, 2021 rather, of the visitors that have come to Atlantic City since the casinos reopened after COVID, which would be July 2, 2020. And the polling, I'm trying to read my writing here. They polled over 800 people, or 805 people from the end of January to mid-February, 46% said they were going to return to Atlantic City in 3 months. And of those people, 26% said they're going to return in 6 months. The remaining 42%, or 42% of them said they visited Atlantic City at least once since the casinos reopened on the 2nd of July rather. And 58% who didn't, overwhelmingly, their reason was only because of COVID. So as soon as we have more vaccinations and people feel safer, the people are going to definitely be coming in town. And you're having more and more things open. The attractions, even today, which is officially Atlantic City's St. Patty's Day, even though the parade was canceled like it was last year. Can you believe it's been a full year already? We've been trying to flatten the curve. Remember when they said 15 days, 2 weeks? Yeah, if we just play it safe and stay away from everybody's cooties, then we'll be okay. And it's been a long 2 weeks. I think we can all agree on that. So, but now, do you know already that the restaurants here in town, we've been at 35% of capacity, starting on the 19th? Is it the 19th? We are the governor. 50%. Yeah, starting on the 19th, the governor of New Jersey is going to have it up to 50% for the restaurants, and that will be so much nicer that they can have more people. I was walking around Bally's a few minutes ago, and I was past an Italian restaurant called Buca di Beppo, and it was really nice to see that you would have seating here, and then the next table would be like 20, 25 feet away, and people, I'm sure, could feel reasonably safe. I really liked seeing all the cleanliness. There was always people cleaning. Everybody was wearing masks. I really see that the casinos are making a real effort, and it makes me feel more safe. I'm going out more and more. I think it's much more interesting for my channel when I'm out making public broadcasts and things, and I'm going out and I'm seeing the things. And I really like the concerted effort in cleanliness that I'm witnessing, and I love the attitude of the employees. I have not had anything disappointing. Of course, occasionally I do get caught when I try to film in public, and they're doing their jobs, and I understand that. And I think they're on to me because when I have the open computer, I like 4 times yesterday in resorts, I got caught by somebody. But that's part and parcel of what we do here on YouTube. Hi, Mark. How are you doing? He says he thinks the summer of 2022 will be more back to normal. I hope you're right. Now, one of the things that's going on, that some of the tours are going to be opening up, and KISS is going to be coming to town at the end of August. And that is definitely one show that I would like to go to. But are we going to get the vaccines yet? Is the president really going to successfully get it so that Americans who want it, regardless of age and health status, can get vaccinated, maybe starting as early as May 1st? That would be wonderful. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Only time will tell. If you're going to offer the shot to me, I've got an arm. I would prefer not to get the Johnson & Johnson one because that seems to be much less effective, but it is nice that it doesn't need the extreme refrigeration and the fact that you can get it in 1 dose instead of 2. But still, I'm concerned about those variants because now they're saying that half of the new COVID infections are of the more dangerous variants, such as from the UK, such as from South Africa. And I believe they have even other ones that we have to worry about with the mutations. But that said, they're talking about maybe having a booster shot, which would help even the other vaccines to have greater effectiveness. And there's even also talk of possibly combining the flu vaccine with the booster shot. And if COVID is going to be something we have to live with, then maybe we just combine the flu and the COVID shot and get that every year. I'd be game for that. So, yeah, let's hope we get this. It was really good to watch the people on the boardwalk today, last night. Almost everybody's wearing masks. There's a lot of people, and I'll be honest, and I know that I don't want you to think that I'm advocating for unsafe behavior. It felt good to be among people. It felt good to be in crowds. It felt good to hug people. It felt good. I was at a bar last night. I was in a place in Resorts International called Bar One. They had a DJ, and his name is Teal Tuesday. I saw it on his laptop, and I thought that it was advertising and promotion on Tuesdays. I didn't know that was his DJ name. And the thing is that I thought they were allowing people to dance as long as they stayed where their seats. And the thing is, you can't walk around with drinks. You have to be seated you can only get your drink ordered when you're seated at the table. And I don't even drink. I don't have a dog in a hut, but I'm hanging out watching everybody and we're using everybody else's brains, because I'm finding that people can think for me sometimes, and I can help look after each other. And if we look after each other, which really is a good idea when alcohol's involved, we really had a good time. But eventually certain people got in trouble for dancing, and you've got this young security guard that he was born after I graduated high school, okay? Not that there's anything wrong with that. And he's basically telling us in his most apologetic manner that you can't dance. And I understand with the COVID that you can breathe heavy, and my goodness, somebody might get a plume of my exhalation from 20 feet away, and if that's going to affect them through my N95 mask, but still, I appreciate that they are caring about people's health. And that is obviously a good thing. Yes.
Show me your beads for Irish St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, okay. Give a close-up look at this. I decided to take out, when I saw on the boardwalk that a lot of people were wearing green, and I had to go home to change clothes anyway because I left my house so quickly yesterday. The only thing I brought was my makeup and my toothbrush. I didn't even have sunblock, and you can't walk around without sunblock. So I had to, anyway, I took the red and white beads out and I put green in just to give a bit of an homage. I didn't want to actually put green on because I wanted to wear something that was timeless for any kind of nightlife and not just something that was typecast for a holiday. Since anyway, anybody that doesn't know the story about when St. Patrick drove out the snakes, it wasn't snakes he was driving out. He was driving out the pagans, okay? And I really can't, in all good conscience, celebrate a holiday that's basically picking out a group of people for their faith. So, but that's just, but yet the fact that this is a holiday that basically is one of the quintessential white people's holidays, so I have to represent. So that's why I have a complicated thing with the whole St. Patrick's Day holiday. Yes, I'm on location. I am on location from Bally's. Here, can you see Claridge? This building here, you got a real close-up view of. This is where the guy jumped. In this place, Claridge has a very interesting history. Claridge is where the beach in front of it for many years was Atlantic City's gay beach. We used to have a rainbow flag out there when we had a gay mayor, and for some reason that flag was taken down. I don't understand why it was taken down, considering that this is a really important place for people to vacation, and we do have a lot of people in the LGBT community who come here, and they would really like to see their flag. And I'm not sure why it was taken down, but it was. I really do get the feeling that some of the powers that be thought that some people would be intimidated. And I hope that's not true, considering the things that get painted on certain other neighborhoods in the city of Atlantic City. Like, for instance, where the Civil Rights Garden is, they have a big old Black Lives Matter thing painted in the street. And yes, you're not in camera frame, you're okay. But, and I don't object to that. Heck, they can paint my street with that BLM stuff, as long as you don't paint on the Atlantic City boardwalk in front of Boardwalk Hall. And a bunch of us showed up specifically to prevent that from happening, and we were successful, because you don't deface a national treasure, and the boardwalk is a national treasure. Oh, I wanted to cover some other news. Not all of this is good news. Some of the sources for this are the Press of Atlantic City.
Cheers! Scotty's birthday. Cheers!
Oh, happy birthday, Scotty.
Happy birthday.
There is a birthday celebration to the right of me.
Cheers!
A good friend of mine got to come here for his birthday. The fact that he got off work, it was a total lucky accident that he got to be off and get to party here.
Cheers!
And they are tying one on. I'm the designated driver that's not driving and haven't had a license. And anyhow, I can't see for shit. Stevie Wonder could see better than me on the road, okay? So, but nobody's driving, and you can't get lost on the boardwalk, even though you can get lost on the casino floor trying to find a way to a guest hotel tower. I can tell you about that. So, can you handle some not so good news? Now, this is information that's accurate as of November 9th, 2020, okay? From the Press of Atlantic City, my hometown newspaper. This is about the casinos reporting 250 COVID cases over several months and a spike that we had in October. And these are, now keep in mind, accurate only as of November 9th. So the numbers probably have gotten a little higher. Bally's has had 15 COVID infections. Borgata has had 20. Caesars has had 13. Golden Nugget has had 13. You guys, I'm reading off statistics that people really want to hear. Golden Nugget has had 13 COVID infections. Hard Rock Casino has had 34 COVID infections. Let me give an explanation for that. I know a little bit of information about the Hard Rock COVID infections. At least half of those are not front of house infections. The infections in the Hard Rock, a lot of them are from the internals. There is a lot of the back of the house in the casinos. And also, a lot of the casinos have the online gaming. When you gamble online and you have the dealers that are televised, that's actually in the back of the house, way in the inside. These casino hotel properties are very, very big buildings, and most of what's going on you never see because you're in the fancy, pretty casino part. But so many of these COVID infections are among the inside part, and that's why some of the dealers that were asked to go to work did not go to work. It's not because they don't want to work. It's because they're afraid of getting exposed to COVID and they don't bring it. A lot of people live in multi-generational households and they can't afford to expose their mothers to the virus. That's what that's about. It doesn't mean the casinos are not safe. Trust me. I mean, you don't have to trust me, but you should, because I am walking in these properties. I'm spending more and more time in them, and I'm personally witnessing that they are making concerted efforts to keep people safe. I see them cleaning things all the time. I see with Hard Rock and with resorts, all the properties, they have towelettes that you can pull out of dispensers. Some of them even have physical sinks that you can wash your hands on the casino floor. You have the hand sanitizers. They're really going out of their way. See? We demonstrate the real thing. Here, let's show the container. Look, we practice what we preach here, okay? So the casinos go out of their way. They take your temperature when you come in. Sometimes they even let you know what your temperature is. Sometimes they use the guns at your head. Sometimes you stand and it's like a webcam. Carolyn Flanagan, hello. Thank you for tuning in. See, I know it's a little late, but you know what? We're on casino time here. It's a Saturday night. Things are quite lively on the boardwalk. You know, they even have live entertainment in the mountain bar downstairs. Granted, it's not the DJ with the big dancing music. When I was downstairs, they had a duo playing some kind of not quite country music, but kind of like countrified pop music. Where the dance floor is, they now have these picnic tables where people can sit, these wooden benches that are attached to chairs and the tables, and that is how you're experiencing your live music. They're still not allowing people to do belly up at the bar yet, and they're not allowing people to walk around with their beverages. In additional thing, you can only get the beverage service when you're playing at the games in the casinos, but they're not giving them to you to carry and drink on the casino floor, and you have to wear your masks at all times except when you're actively eating and drinking. Oh, but I haven't finished with the casino COVID numbers. Harris has had a total of 36 COVID infections up to November 9th, 2020. Ocean has had 15 COVID infections. Resorts has only had 7 COVID infections. Tropicana has had 12 COVID infections. And the source for this is the New Jersey Office of Attorney General, Division of Gaming Enforcement. So I do cite my sources that I'm reading off, that I wanted to make sure that I had this news for you. Also, as of the 10th of March, this is for Atlantic, Cape May, and Cumberland County. We have had 161,000 vaccinations, actually 161,906 COVID vaccinations. In New Jersey, a total of 2,604,692 doses were administered. Of these, 1,717,706 were first doses, and 886,309 were second doses. In Atlantic County, they administered 85,290 doses. In Cape May County, they administered 39,569 doses. In Cumberland County, they administered 37,047 doses of the vaccine. And this would be a combination of, this was before they had the Johnson & Johnson variant. You know that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is more recent. That's not the one I want, though. Even though the advantages of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is it's only one dose, not two. It doesn't need to be super cooled to those sub-zero temperatures that the other ones do, and it has a longer shelf life. But that said, it's not nearly as effective on the UK variant and the South African variant. And there's one or two other variants, and they say that almost 50% of the new COVID infections are those new variants that are more virulent. So, but now Dr. Fauci, if you take any sway in what he has to say, he says the vaccine you get is whatever vaccine you get. Also, keep in mind, if you were already scheduled to get one form of vaccine, but you don't want that appointment and you choose to get the other, if you forfeit your first appointment, then you're going to be all the way at the back of the line for the second one that you want. So they do advise you to get whatever vaccine they offer. So, yeah, I wish I had better news, but I thought it was very important to update you guys on what was up with the local stuff with the COVID. Now, I don't know how good the Wi-Fi is throughout the property. When I walk around, sometimes things flicker and I tend to lose the signal, and that always happens when I go to resorts. So I don't think I'm going to try to do that with Bally's. Also, every time you think that there's a quiet area, then all of a sudden they pipe in the music, and of course I don't want to risk getting a copyright strike. So, I wish you could see the view that I could see right now. I'm looking out the window, and this is so awesome, and you probably don't see it because of the glare. But if you could see what I could see with the ocean and resorts and Hard Rock, we have a very beautiful skyline.
Can the tiger make a small
appearance
here?
Oh, yes. Here's my friend Tiger.
Yeah.
See, she's being safe. I'm so proud of her. This is the most high quality face mask I've seen her wear since we've been hanging out. Yesterday I was kind of bad. I was wearing the sequin I have a sequined leopard mask, and it has probably no protection at all. And I was hanging around resorts all day yesterday, and I was hugging people. And where's my mask? Oh, now this is my mask. And you know what? This is the brand new N95 that I was sent from one of my friends who is a lab tech. He works at a VA hospital in the radiology department. And this is a smaller size of the original kind of N95 he sent me. And this, I think it might be a little small, but this is what I was wearing today. And this, as you can see, goes over the head instead of over the ears, and it's much tighter. And look how it fits. I don't know that this is really adequate, and they're all pretty ugly. Oh, Carolyn Flanagan says hello, Tiger.
Yeah.
And it looks like I don't think any of the Democrats are in the stream, so we can speak freely. Not that I don't speak freely no matter who's watching me. Actually, no, it depends. If I knew that somebody who absolutely hated my guts and wanted to harm me was watching me, I might change what I was saying. We like that guy.
Trump.
See, Carolyn says hello, Tiger.
Hi, Carolyn.
And
Thanks
Mark's
for hanging out.
here. And
Mark's here.
hello, Mark. Mark F.
Hi, guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Is that staff? What do you mean, is that staff? Or am I on I am on location. But, here's a shirt. I didn't think to bring too much in the way of the backdrops and the flag. I forgot about. And I needed to have a t-shirt, so gotta bring my Trumpy. Because I was so quick to leave the house yesterday. I had a little domestic disturbance at home that was my own. I have a vivid imagination, and I was trying to find the cats. If I don't fuss over both my cats, my tabby boy cries, and he gets this separation anxiety thing. And we were even wondering if he's not getting a little bit of the dementia, because he runs around with this catnip toy. And Carolyn, look, she says, it's always nice when I catch Leathur alive. Yeah, I almost forgot that today was my post day, and Tiger was reminding me. How can I forget that today is Saturday when yesterday was obviously Friday? And she's saying to me, today don't you have to go on live? And I said, oh crap! And then I realized I didn't have my notebooks with me that had the information that I was just reading off to you. So I had to go back to my house to get the notebook. And I had a little bit of weed on me, and I figured let me smoke a couple of bowls while I was there. And then I came back, and then, but I needed to use the notebook. A lot of times I don't need to reference a notebook when I'm going on, but I knew that I wanted to read off a bunch of statistics for you. And with that, I had to have the notes that I had to reference. So, but yeah, I almost would have forgotten that this was a posting day. And YouTube, it literally runs my life. It controls, it's how I keep time. YouTube is how it offers a rhythm to my life, and it offers structure in a way that people have with their day jobs or any of their other activities that are important to them. And YouTube is literally like the strings, and I'm the puppet, and YouTube kind of controls me, but not in a bad way. And Tito Soto's there. Hello, I have not seen you in months. I have not seen you in a long time. Yeah, and I mean, I've been taking my good old time editing up some of the footage that I do, and with the editing, I'm trying to get better at it. So sometimes the final video ends up being shorter than I thought it should be, and sometimes they end up being way too long.
Great job.
And I never know what the length of my videos are going to be. I honestly don't know. Plus, if I am dependent on a Wi-Fi connection and it cuts out, then it's beyond my control. And with these casinos, I notice it flickers on and off sometimes, even in the room. Not the last time we got a room, but the time before that, inside the hotel room, the Wi-Fi kept cutting out. And I was trying to do this live stream, and I'm thinking, I don't want people to get confused. And then what I ended up doing is I ended up walking around the casino floor, and I got caught a couple times by security. And it's a thing. I think they're really on to me because they know me by my hair. They know that I'm the one that carries around the open computer. And now they come up to me and they ask if I'm filming. And I don't lie to them. If I'm doing it, I do it. I said, of course I'm filming. That's what I do. I'm a YouTuber. And I said, there's people that look to my videos that they're thinking of coming into town, and they want to know if anything's open. They want to know how safe the casinos are. They want to know how crowded the boardwalk is. They want to know if the stores are open. They want to know if it's going to be worth it. If they know that we have really cool dollar stores, and they want to know if they're going to be open when they come into town. Heck, I wouldn't want to waste a trip if nothing was going to be open. So sure. And also, I'm glad that people tune in, especially the people that think that they're going to get a beer at 2:30 in the morning and they think they're going to walk around resorts looking for a liquor store. For future reference, most liquor stores close around 10 o'clock here, and they don't open again until like 10 o'clock in the morning. So now there are some packaged goods stores. If you know where Ducktown Tavern is, there is a store next to it. It's very, very small. It's got bulletproof glass because they don't play. That may be one place where you can get beers to go and stuff. And there are some little Mexican bars that you used to be able to get 6-packs out. They're more lenient about to go than they used to be before COVID. Obviously, they want to. Oh, the man that wants me to wear the mask is here. Here, look. Amir Udine, is that how you say your name? Look, this is a genuine N95 mask. See, now he says he wants me to wear the 3M 1860 mask. Show her. This is my friend Tiger. Look at her mask. This is a KN95. This is the best quality mask I've ever seen her wear. That's Amir. He loves the mask. I have a mask fashion show video planned. I don't think I could do it in a casino, though, because it would be really complicated. Well, maybe not complicated, but I don't know. But anyway, this month I'm going to do the face mask fashion show. But this is a genuine, I think it's made by 3M. And this is a smaller size. And I can also see that when you're wearing them and you wash them, and they don't recommend that you wash them, but sometimes people, even in the medical field, if they have only a limited supply of PPE, they do wash their masks. And the thing is, every time you wash it with the friction, you cause wear and tear, and it can become less effective. And the friction, especially on the inside, because these are made of multiple layers. But if you take a brand new one of these next to an old one, then you could see there's a real difference in the wear and tear on a face mask when you rub and clean it and stuff. And some of the face masks people wear are absolutely ineffective, such as the mask I wore yesterday. Those sequin, beautiful face masks we wear, they offer no protection at all. And ironically enough, people wear them in the fancier places like in the casinos and the clubs where we are more tightly closed with people. I was hugging people last night. I was dancing. I was getting maybe closer than is safe. But like everybody, I'm tired of being socially isolated. I'm tired of being away from human people. I mean, my mother's a human person. My cats, well, I think of them as people. They do a lousy job of speaking English, but I think of them as people. They can't do a worse job voting than most of the country, the way I see it. But yeah, we should not be unsafe. But in the same token, some of the best effective masks are not the most attractive. But this is the safest thing if you're going to be out among people. And I was seeing people sitting down at slot machines that took off their masks completely. And even though that could be dangerous for other people, they say if we're wearing masks like this, then even if other people took their masks off, that would not directly affect us. So I hope I can be heard okay. I don't know how well I can be heard speak with these masks. Sometimes some of them make me feel like they may muffle the voice a little. And occasionally I would take them off when I was out walking on the boardwalk, but I feel better to wear them. And I think it sets a good example too. And you never know people are going to get close to you walking around.
Sound is good. Lighting is good.
Good. I'm glad you guys can hear. But yeah, these things, boy, but you cannot be inside any place without masks. They do require them. All the employees are wearing face masks, and it's good to see that people are taking this seriously. I wish everybody was taking this seriously. In my neighborhood, I'm still seeing a lot of examples of the people in the gangs. Only half of the drug dealers are wearing masks.
No one has stopped.
And they still barehandedly pass crack rocks hand to hand. I watched it with my own eyes. Matter of fact, I was watching some real interesting behavior in my little ghetto neighborhood. The people that were blending in with the dirt bags that weren't necessarily dirt bags, but they were acting like them. And they were just hanging out in these little tiny boombox cubes that have the big club sound and sitting on each other's cars, putting their feet up like it was their own personal living room, and leaning up against my front door with bicycles. And of course, I don't have a peephole, so I can't look out. But I looked out my window, and I could see that they were there. So I just didn't go out that entrance. I had to slip out the back way to avoid the dirt bags. When I found out that I was going to be going out and filming and stuff. And Atlantic City is a really funny town because you see these beautiful casinos, you see all the glamorousness and the potential for the nightlife and the restaurants and all that stuff. You walk a block or two off of the boardwalk, it totally changes. Not everywhere, but enough of the place so I do not recommend walking around outside of the casinos unless you absolutely know where you're going. And if you're going to be driving to the marina, please do watch the signs. They really need to make better signages when you're trying to find your way to the Borgata and the Golden Nugget and Harris. And you got a sign that's like smaller than than my keyboard on my laptop computer, and people are supposed to be expected to see that when you're driving. Come on, that's. I'm surprised that more people don't end up driven headfirst into the bay. What's it going to do for the casinos to improve their signage? And there are some casino signs that are missing half the letters. How hard is it going to be for some guy with a little can of paint to touch it up so people can see? If the locals are having a hard time finding the signage, how do you expect the people that are driving here from out of state? That they certainly don't want to get lost. So anybody working in the casinos that are hearing the sound of my voice, please get on it with the signage so that people who are trying to find their way. Char, how you doing? Good to see you, hon. Boy, it's 12:41 a.m. I know it's a little late to go on today, but hey, I actually technically started before midnight, so technically I kept my schedule. As long as I get the right day, how the YouTubers commit to having a specific hour that they know they're going to be on, that is amazing that people can do that. I consider it a minor miracle that I'm able to keep to at least the days. So, not that I'm expecting a pat on the back from you guys, but being a YouTuber is not easy. It's great to see you, Char. I don't have a cat in this video. I should have thought to bring a stuffed animal or something, but I end up carrying so many bags, waddling out of here, carrying a computer in my arms, carrying all this stuff. And every time I do this, it's a learning experience. I always bring twice the clothes you need, and then you got all this crap that you're carrying out. And sometimes I get a ride home. Other times I'm carrying it in my arms. And even if I'm getting a ride home, you still got to walk from the hotel room to the garage. And it's almost impossible to get those things with the carts, that you used to when you're checking in. You don't get them so easily now. And maybe if you got to go to the bellhop and hand them $10 or something, but they're not a dime a dozen anymore. And probably because everybody getting their hands on surfaces. And you got these employees that are cleaning surfaces. I mean, they do such a great job. You're always seeing people cleaning. They have the green team here. Matter of fact, I'm going to give a shout out to somebody. I'm not going to give his name. One of my high school classmates works here at Bally's. And I was telling my friends that one of my friends that I went to school with works here in the maintenance department. I'm not sure what their official title is. It used to be custodian, then it was janitor, now it's environmental sciences, or what the official title is. I don't know. But anyway, I was walking down the hall. I had just gotten, I'm a little bit of a mischief maker, if you guys don't know property. And there's a part of me that I don't want to say I like to behave badly, but occasionally I like to have a little harmless fun. And I never intend to hurt anybody. I really don't. But life's short, and I think you should have a twinkle in your eye, and you should, have that youthful, fun spirit. And you guys that watch my makeup videos, I did a real pretty makeup video in a real fancy bathroom, my absolute favorite bathroom, public bathroom I've ever been in my life, and it's a bathroom here in Bally's. And there's a couple of fellas in our party here, you've heard, and I spoke to one of them, and I'm not going to drop any names here. I said, "You want to see something cool? You game?" He said, "Okay." I said, "You sure?" He says, "Okay, I'm game." I says, "All right." And I told the other one, I told the birthday man, I said, "You shut up. Don't say a word." So anyway, I showed this fellow the ladies' room. And, we're taking a risk because, you get caught and, you got some splaining to do. Well, anyway, all's well that ends well. He saw possibly Atlantic City's most glamorous public bathroom. And I want to be doing some more videos in there, but the thing is, they don't have it open real late like they used to. And you think you can show up in the wee hours, and you're probably going to find it closed. So it's best to do it when you know it's open. But when it's not crowded, because if it's empty, then you can do a full-length video in there, and you can do some creative posing, which I did. And maybe there will be a future video. You can make videos just of pictures. And matter of fact, the computer adds music to it, and it's copyright free, so I don't get in trouble. There may be a video or two like that in the future. But because they don't have voiceovers, I much prefer to talk over videos, and I don't yet know how to do a voiceover track and add it to the video. That'll be a new skill for me to learn, but I don't know when I'm going to learn that skill. Half the time, the skills I learn accidentally. Like with the editing, the storyboarding, that was an accidental skill. I discovered that it was offered inside my computer itself. Then they have this other thing with editing that's involving an individual piece of footage that, say, the first part of it was usable, but then there was glare and I couldn't see the screen to turn off the camera. So I have a bunch of extra footage. I learned how to trim the bad stuff off. And that is why that last heavily edited video I posted only clocked in at 9 minutes. I had no way of knowing how short the video was going to be. But by the time I edited it all together, that's all that it ended up being. So I have no way of knowing from video to video how long something is going to be. And if it's something that I edit the parts together, it could end up being 8.5 hours, or it could end up being, I just never know. But because I know that I don't want to waste your time with a whole bunch of footage where the camera's pointed at my feet and you see a bunch of sidewalk, that can waste minutes and hours of your time, and I don't want to do that. So if I can do a better editing job and cut the crap out, even at the risk of it being a shorter video than I planned. So some videos are going to be really long and some are going to be short. And if I'm live streaming, I will go on until I start to be a little tired and incoherent, or until the Wi-Fi cuts out. And sometimes I will have somebody that'll say, "Hey, Leathur, let's go for a walk and let's do the live streaming." And a lot of times Tiger will suggest I do that. It's really fun when it happens, but invariably, sometimes in security, we'll notice that I'm too close to a slot machine. Or like yesterday, I was in resorts and I was too close to a roulette thing, and I did not even have the webcam on. I think I was on Facebook or I was posting something. I was not, the camera was nowhere near, but still the dealer got kind of nervous and she said, "Could I get away from things?" So I thought, maybe I should get the heck off the casino floor, because I don't want to push it. I don't want to get where they say I got to take my ass out. And, I'm starting to get kind of a bit of a reputation. So I got to kind of, as Archie Bunker said to Edith, stifle it.
Archie Bunker.
And I've been compared to Archie Bunker by some people, and that's okay. I loved All in the Family, and I don't want to say my father was an Archie Bunker type, but I remember many a of conversation at the dinner table when I was in high school, where my father was a little Archie Bunkerus, and I was kind of meatheadish. And, but I haven't been meathead since 9/11. So, yeah. So, oh, I got something to show you guys. This is the menu for the Laurel Lounge that I just got out of like about an hour ago. And that's where I was initially going to try to do tonight's live stream. And they had beautiful, beautiful views of the boardwalk. And even when it started to get dark, the views were really beautiful. But then the last hour and a half it was open, then all of a sudden they cranked up the music. And if I had thought to do it earlier, there would have been no music. But the thing is, it probably would have been a little bit too early for the live stream. There seems to be that sweet spot where there's most people that can be watching it live, even though I know you guys can watch it at any time. But I really like the live interaction. I like to see the people, the friendly, familiar faces. And right now, I I might not see the face of every single person here, but I am familiar with every single person that's in this chat room, and I think that is awesome. I really love the community that I am building here on YouTube.
And everybody like and smash that like button. Show some support. Leather Rokk works really hard. And
it's a labor of love.
Smash that like button.
I really enjoy making these videos. This makes me live in the moment more. Being a YouTuber forces me to appreciate my own hometown more. I know I gripe and bitch about things, and there's always something to bitch about. And I think it's important to be honest with you so that if you're going to take the chance and make the effort and explore some of the things I show you, and this holds true not just with Atlantic City, this holds true with Washington, D.C., this holds true with Los Angeles when I show you Los Angeles. This is going to hold true with New York City. I know I'm going to be showing you that. My aim is to give you a window into my world and show you some things that I've discovered, show you some things my friends have discovered. And I know that covering all these interests. Oh, wait a minute. There's another news item that I almost forgot.
What?
Oh, yes,
What?
there's something
What's going on?
that I almost forgot, and I got to mention this. Okay, I just have to read my atrocious writing.
Special alert! Special alert!
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Oh, where is it? Oh, yeah. Do any of you guys ever go to Ocean City? I don't mean Ocean City, Maryland, even though there is such a thing. Ocean City, New Jersey. Let me tell you about Ocean City. Ocean City is a totally dry town. Ocean City has no bars. Ocean City has no liquor stores. That said, Ocean City has a reputation for a very family-friendly resort. New Year's Eve, they have something called First Night Celebration, which is an alcohol-free celebration. I believe tickets are $10, and it has all these activities. It was canceled last year, though, due to COVID. But you can bring your children, and they have all kinds of activities. Some of them are more geared towards the young kids. There's things on the beach. There's things they have this night time in Venice where they have these boats and they're all lit up with Christmas lights and they go in the water in the bay.
How far is that from Atlantic City?
Ocean City is approximately like 20, 25 minutes, less than that. How you can get there is you can go all the way through. Atlantic City is on a barrier island called Absecon Island, and the cities right next to it are Ventnor, then Margate, then Longport. There is a bridge going through Longport that goes to Ocean City.
That's like the Harrah's, like the marina. Is that right?
No, well, the marina goes up. I believe I have I had an Atlantic City map and I didn't bring it with me. Well, you guys, if you're watching me, you have internet, you can draw up an Atlantic City map. But Ocean City is a very beautiful town. It's got very clean beaches. You can see concerts. I saw the Grassroots in Ocean City. I saw Oh, what's the name of that band? The Association. Great music, great classic rock of the late 60s and early 70s. The soundtrack to my childhood. Oops, did I say that? You're going to think I'm old now. Blah, 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 blah. You didn't hear any of that. You did not hear a thing. Anyway, they have lots of great concerts. I saw Winger in Ocean City. Now, one thing, even though it's a dry town, you can still drink there. If you get a hotel room, they have bed and breakfast there, Airbnbs. You can still get liquor. You can drink it in your hotel rooms. Now, this is not legal, but I'm going to tell you what some people I know have done. You could go on the beach and you could sneak it. Don't let the cops catch you, but you could probably sneak it. Now, what I need to tell you about is about marijuana. You
Let's
guys,
talk about marijuana.
you guys probably know that I am a fan of the cannabis. Well, not everybody likes cannabis, and even though the state of New Jersey voted for full legalization for adults 21 and older, and even the police, when they stopped underage people, and if you catch a police officer catches underage people drinking, did you know that part of the legalization of marijuana, police are not, they're very strongly discouraged from giving tickets to underage people for drinking, even from notifying the parents of the kids. So if you're a parent of teenagers, maybe you would be a little concerned about this because parents probably do have a right to know when their kids are drinking. Though I think it depends. If the parents are abusive and they would absolutely do atrocious things to kids, then maybe it's better that the kids are not ratted out on. But the cops can actually be subject to disciplinary action if they mess with kids for underage drinking or for pot use. That is one of the things that was in addition to the marijuana being legalized. But how this pertains to Ocean City is this: the mayor has decided to not allow cannabis sales to be in the city of Ocean City. Now, does that mean that if the people are selling on street corners or low profile, does that mean that they're going to be arrested? I guess that means that if you're going to be selling pot in Ocean City, you're going to have to be very, very, very discreet. But if you buy it from Atlantic City or wherever, you can come to Ocean City, and there are many Airbnbs where they do allow smoking. And plus, if you have a vape pen, you can smoke that way. So, but just the mayor is not going to allow for the retail stores to sell cannabis. And since it is considered a dry town, and you figure if they're not going to be able to buy alcohol in Ocean City, then you're not going to be able to buy marijuana in Ocean City. But if you buy it someplace else, you can smoke it there. Now, I do believe they may have made it illegal to smoke cigarettes on the beach because of the pollution, the cigarette butts, and also because of the secondhand smoke. Generally speaking, in places where it is illegal to smoke tobacco, it is generally illegal to smoke marijuana too. But if vaping is okay, with the vape pens, the only thing that is exhaled is water vapor. In that case, if you can vape anything, if you can vape tobacco, you can also vape marijuana. Another thing I want to mention since we're talking about marijuana, especially now, let's talk about casinos. When I was at resorts, I read the fine print. They have signs posted of all the fine rules and regulations on the casino floor and throughout the casino properties. Things such as underage people are not supposed to remain on properties. You can't have your kids next to you when you're gambling. You can't let kids run around unattended, which is basic common sense. Now, one of the things which I read, which I thought really a bummer, was they said in resorts, even if you get a casino smoking room, that you're not allowed to smoke marijuana in Resorts International. I don't know if that's true with all the casino properties. That said, there is plenty of cannabis smoke. I did not get a single whiff of tobacco smoke at all. You probably know that there is no smoking on the casino floors at all right now because of COVID. So even though there are normally some smoking sections, you actually have to go outside to smoke because of COVID. Just like when you're drying your hands in the casino, hotel bathrooms, they don't have the air blow dryers. You have to dry your hands with paper because anything that blows air around, in theory, they're concerned that may blow the COVID. And most of you guys' masks, unless you have an N95 masks, they cannot blot out the zero point 0.3 micron size of the COVID molecules. Yeah, I smelled a lot of pot smoke in various hallways. In addition, you can smoke freely on the Atlantic City Boardwalk if it's not too windy. I would. I also recommend they do have bathrooms. They call them comfort stations, and even though a lot of them are going to be closed, you can stand behind the barricades and use that as a windbreak. That's what I did the other day. I got to walk around on the boardwalk between New York Avenue and Resorts International, openly smoking a joint. And it was so freeing to be able to do that and not hide it, not have to look back worrying about police, not have to worry about undercover police. It is so liberating. You can have a nice glass bowl and you could fire it up. And okay, I wouldn't want children to witness it any more than I would want children to hear me yell out profanities. Thank you. Thank you for. I like to know that somebody likes what I'm doing. I mean, who wants to put out something that makes people miserable? I mean, think of how meter maids must feel. Who enjoys getting a parking ticket? Who, oh my goodness, I get to support the city coffers because I parked in the wrong place because I was too lazy to read the signs. Nobody says that they're happy to get ticket. I used to attract parking tickets in Hollywood the way Pigpen attracted dirt. I used to learn how there's ways of getting free parking. It's scandalous, but I'll tell you anyway. It involves crazy glue, toilet paper, and pennies. If you don't mind wasting pennies, so you are technically, it costs you something. So you start sticking pennies in where you stick quarters, and when the pennies fill it up, then you put some toilet paper in there. Then you take some crazy glue and you put it in there. That'll jam it for like 3 or 4 days. Then they'll put it parking. They'll put those bags on that'll say out of order, and any out of order parking spot is free parking. So that's what we were doing in Los Angeles when I was attracting parking tickets because I didn't have a designated parking spot when I had apartments. And I'm not advocating doing that. It's probably vandalism of government property or something. So I'm not suggesting it, but I'm telling you what I did. And I did this long time ago. And I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations has run out. And anyhow, I don't think it was a felony or anything. Okay, there's things that people do when they're younger, or they do because they can't afford those tickets. Those tickets are high, man. And if you don't pay them in a month, they double. And parking tickets are no joke. I have had the Denver boot. Okay, I've wakened up. I have slept in my car repeatedly in Los Angeles, California. And one time in the Denver boot. Oh, you don't know what the Denver boot is? Anybody that's got a lot of parking tickets knows what the Denver boot is. After you get, say, 6 or 7 parking tickets, the state in LA and a lot of places, they put this contraption, they apply it onto the boot, onto the car, the rim of your car, and it attaches, and it's this big heavy plate. It looks almost like a roadside bomb light. Not that I know what they look like. I can only imagine. Well, they can be made lots of ways. You know that. You can make them with pressure cookers and all kinds of bullshit. You know, what's a Boston marathon bomber? That's what he used. Well, the Denver boot clamps onto your car, and it has this big heavy thing that you cannot drive more than like 2 inches on it.
Why do they call it?
And it's, I guess, because it probably first was started in Denver. Well, one day I was sleeping in my car. I'd driven to North Hollywood. I met up with this hot guy. I didn't find out until I got there that he was married. Okay, so needless to say, I wasn't even going to try to get in. And so I slept on the street because I had no choice, right? So I'm sleeping and I'm feeling this like an earthquake. I'm thinking, okay, it's an earthquake. I'm no stranger to earthquakes because it's Los Angeles. only to find out that it was a human couple, a husband and wife, working for the parking enforcement. They were putting the boot on my car. They did not know that there was a person sleeping in it, so I wiped the sand out of my eyes and I emerged out of the car. Hello, hi, yeah, I don't have a home and I sleep in my car. And it's really embarrassing to admit this sort of thing, right? And I show them my hatchback in my car and it's got clothes all over it. And I mean, you can tell a person sleeping in your car, they're not, don't have the most beautiful car. You got food wrappers I had, I'm sure, tins from tuna fish or sardines because my favorite breakfast was a couple of bagels and a can of sardines and oil, or smoked oysters even on a bagel. Is so good. And you can get really great bagels in Hollywood. They have, any good city has great bagel bakeries. And it can be like Einstein bagels. I can wholeheartedly recommend. They're awesome. The Einstein bagels in Washington, D.C. at Union Station, I recommend. In Atlantic City, I'll tell you your best bread. For your Italian bread, you want Rando's Bakery. You don't want Formica Brothers bread. You want Rando's bread. And if you're Formica camp, I apologize, but I'm telling you what I think is best. Formica's Italian bread is too spongy. Rando's bread is the best. And there are some restaurants, Rando's do service, just like Formica Brothers services some people. If you like genuine White House subs, you know what? They were good enough for the chairman of the board. Frank Sinatra, when he was playing Vegas, he used to fly in White House subs from Atlantic City. They were so good. So if people were going to fly in food, then it's good. White House Subs is an Atlantic City institution, even though there are other companies that are similar. Sacco Subs, the Sacco name, those were some of the people that were early White House sub employees. I think, I forget how the story goes, but anyway, the Sacco Subs are very, very comparable in quality. Also, White House Subs has a couple of other locations. The original location I've shown you when I'm out walking around the streets, but they also have a version of it. They had one at Taj Mahal when my mother worked there. Now that, hey Tiger, do you remember if White House Subs is at Hard Rock Cafe?
They are.
Oh, okay, they are at Hard Rock.
In the outskirts, like the
The food
area.
court, the food court area.
Yes.
Okay, so the next time you're at Hard Rock Cafe, if you're hankering for a White House sub and you're afraid of getting lost walking around in the city,
there's always a line.
And
yeah,
and when you get long lines for food, that means that people know it's good. And I recommend the regular Italian sub and those chopped hot peppers. They chop them up. They're red usually, or they can be green, and they're usually in an oil, and they got the seeds, and they give them in these big plastic, well, they're not big, but they're like a quarter cup, and they're great because they got just the right amount. They're not hot, terrible, though you still don't want to scratch your eyes or your et ceteras or your whatchamacallits. Believe me, you never forget it if you do. But they're hot peppers. You got to put your hot peppers on your subs. Whether it's Sacco's, whether it's White House, the Italian sub is my favorite. And even though I don't eat cheese, they have that comes with the provolone cheese and it's sliced real thin. And sometimes I could tolerate a slice or two of that, but I just as soon I prefer not to have the cheese. But it's real good. They got a lot of different flavors besides the regular Italian, but I prefer the regular Italian. And also, they put the oil on it. You want to eat it pretty soon. Otherwise, they can get soggy if because they wrap them up and everything, and that's the one thing is because the oil gets on the bread, so you want to eat them within a few minutes of getting them. My father used to, a couple of times a year, he would get a couple of subs from White House and he would bring them home when he'd come home from work, and it would be a real treat, especially like you I think we had White House subs when I graduated high school. The thing is that my grandparents came down. They were supposed to watch our graduation, but it got postponed to the next day.
and they, because of rain or something, and they couldn't stay because my grandpa had to go to work, so they ended up missing it. So meanwhile, my brother, he graduated from Holy Spirit High School, so they actually had their ceremony in what is now called Boardwalk Hall, but at the time it was Atlantic City Convention Center. In one of the upper ballrooms, that's where Holy Spirit High School tends to have their graduation. But ours was held at Bader Field, which is now called what's called Surf Stadium, after we used to have a baseball team called the Atlantic City Surf. And one of my friends, who I think he sometimes watches my videos, he was actually the mascot. He was in the Splash costume. His name is Joe Recton. And he also has a ventriloquist dummy named JR. So remember the name Joe Recton. He is definitely one of the Atlantic City celebrities. He wears a lot of the red, white, and blue stuff, and he's got a get up that's very pro-American, and you don't miss him. And he's one of my Puff Puff Pass buds too. Shout out to my pothead friends. I smoked earlier today. I don't feel it. And I've got such a high tolerance that I don't feel it a half hour after I smoke. And I have done a really lousy job of hooking up with people every time I do these live streams. And my friends know that I'm hanging out in the casinos, and I keep on having missed connections with people that are supposed to get me some weed, and they're not been coming through for me lately, man. Where's the fucking weed at, dudes? You know, a girl's gotta have her weed. And what do I think about what, shingles? I heard that's nasty. Singles.
Singles are free.
Come on.
Well, if it wasn't for COVID, we would be, but COVID's got us all fucked up. Yeah, single life in a pandemic is really sucky. Unless you make your way to one of these casino bars and maybe you get to try a little dancing before you get yelled at. But now the security, when I was getting my temperature check at Caesars, they were telling me that they were going to have dancing at Mountain Bar tonight. But the thing is, for the live entertainment, instead of having these DJs and these bands, I saw like a singer-songwriter duo. Oh, there is, if you guys like country music, there's this guy I want to recommend. His name is, his last name is Roberts, and it's not Eric. Not John. Oh God, I don't want to screw up his name. Anyway, they have some live entertainment right next to the axe throwing establishment in front of Resorts International and the Hard Rock. They got the axe thrower. So yeah, that would be in front of Resorts. They're having live country entertainment, and they have country entertainment at Firewaters Bar in Tropicana. I don't know if that's open in the pandemic. And of course, you can't get up against the bar because Governor Murphy doesn't think it's safe. Just like he didn't want us drinking after 10 o'clock, or rather you guys, since I'm not the one that's drinking. I don't know. The only drug I think I might be interested in experimenting with again is MDMA. And you got to be real careful that you're not getting the bunk stuff, If it's bunk and it's really bad, you can be paralyzed for life. You got to be real careful. Anybody that's tempted to do drugs like that, you want to get a testing kit so you know that you got the real thing. And that stuff is not cheap. It's not worth risking your life over a high. Even a really fun high, and MDMA is a fun high. I know about my drugs, okay? I had my fun. I leave stuff alone now because I had my fun, but that didn't get me in trouble like other things did. But still, you have to always think of your safety. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, I don't want to seem like some kind of hypocrite, but please consider your safety. That's why, going to Tijuana is not safe now. People still wanting to travel during spring break, which, hello, pandemic, you shouldn't be traveling anyway. We were just now trying to roll out our vaccine distribution, and our President Biden is saying that he's going to allow it so that we can access the vaccine by the 1st of May. I would hope that's true. I want my mother to get the vaccine. I'm trying so hard my mother is 80 years old, and I'm trying so hard to get her vaccine. And really, her doctor should be trying to get it too. She's got a heart doctor. She's got a cardiologist. They want my mother to get another stent put in her heart. She did another stress test, and it wasn't the walk on a treadmill. They inject her with something. I don't know if it's barium or what, but they said she failed it. So, and what was it? We were reading an article saying if you drink a lot of green tea, you're supposed to be calmer. It's supposed to be like type A personalities, and I think I'm a type A personality. And I think, yeah, because she's always trying to get me to chill out, and I stress out, and she helps to calm me down. Tiger's really good with that. But yeah, all the green tea that I'm drinking, the only thing it does is it makes me pee twice as much. But I don't know if it makes me any calmer. What calms me down is the cannabis, okay? It's not just a high for me. It really helps me to calm down. And it's the safest thing I can do, short of eating. If I eat a bunch, the last thing I'm going to do is it the beer can?
No, like I thought somebody was like tapping on the ice.
Knock 3 times.
I
bring
thought
Tony Orlando and Donna.
I thought they were like.
And maybe we'll have a cover band downstairs playing that kind of music.
It's Antana.
That was a good one.
Now, I heard some talk earlier that there's places around here that are haunted. Maybe I would get to do a stream and show something like that.
That was weird.
I've danced in haunted places before. One of the places I danced in Los Angeles, the Ivar Theater, that place was haunted. And I was sleeping. The last 6 months I danced there, I actually slept on the floor of my dressing room because the back door opened up. My dressing room had a back door, had stairs that were covered and opened up to the outside in the street. The little street was called Cosmo Street. It was very close to the corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Cahuenga. And that's really close to the corner of Hollywood and Vine. And everybody that's heard of Hollywood has heard of Hollywood and Vine. It's like a very famous intersection. But it's not a very fun place. Like, it's not a place to hang out. They got a sleazy strip joint that I used to work at by a different name. It's on the corner. And, of course, Capitol Records is there. And my storage is very close to there. And there's a couple of restaurants there. And they did construction on a high-rise, like 30 to 40-story high-rise. And then they found out that there is a brand-new fault line right approximately on the corner of Hollywood and Vine. Not only are the rents that you probably cannot afford, but they're constructing skyscrapers now right where earthquake faults are. You tell me this makes a lick of sense. Prior to this, the tallest building in Los Angeles, I believe, was the Arco Tower. I have been there before.
It might fall into the ground.
And I have been through my fair share of earthquakes, okay? They're all scary. I won't lie. They're fascinating also. My first earthquake, took my journal out and I was interviewing people, like doing a man on the street thing, like I was some kind of reporter, because I thought it was really interesting. You know, you never forget your first earthquake. You never forget any of your earthquakes. And some of them are scarier than others. But I don't think anybody wants to be in a skyscraper during an earthquake. Even though they're designed to move, even the skyscrapers in New York City, they're flexible. They're designed to sway. And I'm sure they feel very scary if you don't like roller coasters and you don't like airplanes. I don't like turbulence, which is why I don't fly anymore. I would see more of the world if I would only get over my fear of flying. But my fear of flying is a learned fear of flying.
Anthony said, real estate guy, California is going to become an island.
I hope not. And the thing is that there is some evidence to suggest that, because the Ring of Fire, literally, there is a left side and the right side. The ocean is one side. And yeah, and they're finding more and more sections. And I have, you know what? Since I talk about all this different shit, I have a whole bunch of seismic maps somewhere in in Atlantic City that I acquired. I found I don't remember where I found them. It may have even been a dumpster dive, to tell you the truth. I get all kinds of interesting things.
Oh God.
And I ground scored something today. I was just leaving my house. I'd forgotten my notebooks, and when Tiger reminded me that I had to do a live stream today, which I didn't have to do a live stream, I had to produce something.
What
But
did you find,
live
Leathur?
streaming is really convenient, and I can give immediate, especially if I have immediate news or if I want to show you things. So showing and telling live streaming is really wonderful. But not too far from my house, I found something, a sign that somebody made just on paper, and it said in big black letters, "Get high." And then it had a little pot leaf on it. And I'm thinking, that would be, I will clean it up somehow. And I will maybe tape it to a heavier background. And I think it would be really cool to hold if I have a video like where to smoke pot in public in Atlantic City, or where to smoke in casinos in AC. Of course, I have to say things very carefully, because what if the people who worked in the casinos read that and said, "Oh no," then I can't fuck you guys up, and I can't fuck myself up. We have to be a little discreet, even though we're talking about things that it's ridiculous that people should be uptight about it, but still, it is what it is. And just like we have to accept that we have to do certain things by law, we accept that we have to wear masks whenever we go in stores and whenever we ride public transportation. That is how it is. And frankly, why would anybody not want to protect themselves and other people? Why people are arguing about it. And I have very good friends who think I'm crazy that I still wear the mask. Or the people who say, "Oh, your mask is not going to do any good." Well, maybe most people's masks aren't going to do any good. But if you get a hold of an N95 or a KN95, that is doing good. So if you're wearing something that is effective, yes. But if most people are wearing crap.
You didn't know what you were going to meet. Hitler and Scotty lost his...
Johnny Hitler? You call him that? We have... Everybody has nicknames for people, and nobody means any harm here. There are the most neat people that hang out that really get into the casino scene. There are people that love our casino so much they come here every week. And you hang out enough, you get to see familiar faces. I'm starting to recognize people, and I'm starting to look at the name tags on the security guards and the waitresses, and there are some really fun people. And I'm starting to see them week after week. And I really am enjoying hanging out in public.
And the whole drama of losing the credit card.
Oh gosh. And it's really interesting how different bars have different ways of keeping tabs with your tab. And some of them, they just it used to be back in the day, you would figure it out at the cash register, and they would tap the things. It was before they had this touch screen computerized crap. And they would type it, it would sound like a typewriter, and they would figure it out. And now half of them make you leave a credit card, and you hold on to it, and you figure the people are drinking. How many people are going to remember that they left a credit card? And I can imagine that you're looking through your cards and you're shitting a brick thinking, "Oh shit, what happened? And what if you don't remember how you got home?" Who among us is not blacked out and not know how they got home? I remember drinking Chivas Regal with the fishermen on the jetties in the Atlantic City, near Revel Casino, when I lived on New Hampshire Avenue, okay, in a house that doesn't even exist anymore because it was torn down, okay. There are places I lived in that you can never see, and I can't prove it because it's torn down, unless you can find a little piece of cement that I would sign my name in. Who doesn't like to sign your name in cement? Come on. It's like it's a couple of steps elevated from writing your name in a bathroom wall. It's a little bit higher class. It's still a little bit low class, but it's not really offensive. It's a way of saying, "I was here. I signed my name in cement." I did that once, not too far from here, too. And I think I can still find my name. There is a part of me that I signed near my first mailing address, which was on the corner of Selma almost at not La Brea, Vine. No, no, Wilcox in Selma. I written Wench Rocks Hollywood. I signed it. That's actually the name of my production company, except it's not incorporated. And my East Coast office, which would obviously be here in Atlantic City, that would be Wench Rocks Hollywood / East. Almost all of us showbiz types have our production companies, and that's the name of mine. So, and Wench, well, there's a long story behind that, and that's for another time.
It's your middle name.
And it's my middle name too. And which actually that wasn't a good idea to say because of identity theft. But oh well, the jig's up. I know it, and you know it. You know. But yeah, it's really good to see signs of life out there. It was fairly crowded on the boardwalk, and I saw a lot of people wearing green. A lot of the casinos are offering green promotions. One of the promotions that they're offering in resorts, if you get enough tier credits, they're offering a special St. Patrick's Day mask. It's a face mask that says resorts, and it has some shamrocks on it, and it's green. And so I imagine a lot of the casino properties are offering giveaways. So this is the official start of the spring party season. And St. Patty's Day was always really big in Atlantic City. They always alternate their celebration with Philadelphia's because a lot of people come down from Philadelphia. It's a big deal with people. And some people treat it very like a religious holiday. You used to have the bagpipers would come in, and we had a bar called Duke Max. It was such a fun bar. It was on California Avenue in the boardwalk, and they had this big glass windows. I lived not too far away from there at the time, and it was so much fun. That was like our neighborhood bar. And when it would snow on the beach, on the boardwalk, you would watch the snow. And it was so much fun people watching on the boardwalk.
I would.
Oh, do you want? Tiger thinks maybe we could see the view.
Yes.
Would you like to see my view?
Um.
Okay, check this out. Now, the occasional flash you might see would be we have a fire alarm system here, and it has a flash, I guess, so that in case of power failure. Now, the obvious glare here is my computer screen, but if I hold this here, do you see there is the ocean, the Hard Rock resorts, the Atlantic Palace, where my father was very briefly a security guard about the time when he got mugged by those little boys for a gang initiation, and they stabbed him in both of his hands. And that was so very disturbing to see my father in that state.
Leather, I have a question.
Sure.
What is that? Like that?
That big fat phallic symbol looking thing? That is the Claridge, where the man jumped to his death. Here, let's back up a little bit so I can maybe show a better view, because now, if there's anybody watching this that's in the LGBTQ community, the Atlantic City's gay beach happens to be in front of the Claridge. I still wish they would put the rainbow flag back up. I think that they deserve to be represented, and they're a very valuable community, and we love our LGBT people, and Atlantic City is a very big market. And by the way, speaking of that subject, I wish they would bring back, there is a very special circuit party that is mostly in Asbury Park now, and they called it the not the Sunsplash, Sunsplash is a reggae festival. But this is something that actually was here in town a couple of times, and it was so much fun. They had like drag races, drag queen were running in high heels on the beach, kind of close to one of the video arcades. We have arcades here that are for families. People of all ages can play different games of skill, and you can win really great prizes. And the thing is, most people don't know how to win the prizes. My brother is so good at winning things. He won a real fancy Dell computer, one of those all-in-ones that has a pedestal base that you touch the screen, and it has a really fantastic sound system. And he plays YouTube videos, he plays playlists that sometimes my mother has to get him to turn the volume down because they interfere with my live stream. Otherwise, I love his music. He's got a really great classic rock. He loves like The Doors and Pink Floyd and lots of really great music, but I can't risk a copyright strike when I'm filming. It's a shame that they're so strict with that, when it's funny that if a person wants to sing and play guitar and they want to do a cover of a song, they're not going to get a copyright strike. However, what happens is if ads get placed on a video, it'll go to the copyright holder of the music that they're playing. That's how you can get away with singing somebody else's song, and yet you can't you can't play a record. And I got a copyright strike. Well, I got a copyright notice in the video where I danced a little bit to dubstep. I happen to have one bit of downloaded music. I'm not a music downloader. I'm really not. I don't do it legally. I don't do it illegally, except for that one time. And it was like I'd actually found one of those things that makes you download any kind of music. Makeup by Andrea. Hi. See the makeup people that like to watch my videos. Tiger says hello.
Hi.
I am so happy that you decided to tune in. I know it's a little late. I didn't start till almost midnight, but because they started to pipe music into the VIP lounge we were in, and then they were ready to kick us out, and we couldn't stay there, so we took out what we could. You have to they don't let you take drinks walking around, especially now with COVID, and you're not ever supposed to take things out of the VIP lounges or out of the buffets, but there are ways of sneaking it, and it gets embarrassing if you get caught there. Like when my mother used to be a cashier at the buffet when she worked at the Taj Mahal, and they would chase people down for a few pieces of fruit, and they would make you give it back. And I mean, I think that's kind of petty when you think of the food that goes to waste all the time. And the thing is, the casinos, they're really good about donating food to food banks here. They donate food to the Salvation Army. The casinos here donate food to the Atlantic City Rescue Mission. That's the big homeless shelter here. But the thing about the Atlantic City Rescue Mission, first of all, full disclaimer, I've never been there. I hope I never ever am there. I've never eaten dinner there or anything even. But the thing with the Atlantic City Rescue Mission is the people that stay there, they claim that they have cockroaches and they have bed bugs. I sure as hell would not want to stay in any place with cockroaches or bed bugs. And the thing is that they must know that. Why the hell don't they have an exterminator? You can delouse people and you can get rid of bed bugs. I know about bed bugs, and you don't want them. But the thing is that they really need to get rid of the cockroach problem. There are so many people that would rather be homeless than stay there.
Hey, Mother, do you mind if I show your,
Go for it.
Yeah, put it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Leather works so hard, and, she's so organized, and this is, her YouTube, channel, dialogue. Is that the right word?
It's my
every single makeup video,
oh yeah, show that my makeup friend might be interested in this. I like to diagram my this is the eyebrow here, and this shows when I'm plotting out makeup looks.
She works so hard, and she look at all these notes. Are you serious? This she
And the tabs here, these blue tabs, these signify Washington, D.C. videos. There are videos you guys haven't seen yet because they haven't been edited.
She works so hard. She edits things and
Yeah, editing's a pain in the ass. I didn't always know how to edit. I had to learn how. I had to figure out how. Every
every single
YouTubers are better at it than I am.
yeah. Like yeah. This is a big deal. Like people.
And these are, I love these kind of notebooks. They're nice and big and thick. Now, these little notebooks, what I like about them is a lot of these I found, a whole bunch of them. There's one of the stores, they didn't want to bother with them. They left a pile of these notebooks on a bench on the boardwalk. And when I'm editing, let me show you what editing is like. Every file has a code, has a file number. I write down the file numbers, okay? I look at every piece of footage, I write them down. I have to order things. Number 1, 2, 3, the turnaround, the first thing you see, that can be filmed at any time. But usually things are in order, easy enough to do. With the makeup tutorials, when I first did my makeup tutorials, I would start with a full face, then I would take off this much and redo that. A lot of times I would start the makeup hours earlier, and I would go out dancing. I'd come back from the club, and that's when I would do the makeup tutorial. And you can imagine how hard it would be getting the both sides to match when this side has been on for quite a while. Even though usually I would touch it up a little bit to freshen it up so it looked good, but to try to get both sides to match, that was not easy. But then when I got more comfortable with being seen with less makeup, and you know that I still usually start off with foundation and my eyebrows, since everybody has a different eyebrow shape, and everybody, like some people use the beauty blender. I really like to use my hands. The blenders soak up too much product. Why do you want to use something that uses up the stuff that you're spending good money on? And the beauty blenders, some of you guys are spending $30 or $40 or more for a thing of foundation. And you're going to use a beauty blender that literally wastes half of your stuff. I would rather use fingers. I've experimented with brushes. And there's other things you can use. You can use a balloon and blow it up a little bit of the way. And that's actually better than a beauty blender because it absorbs almost no foundation. And you're using less product.
Hey, Leather. The 8-hour live stream, like
8.5 hours. You mean the one with my mother?
Yes.
Christmas Eve?
Yes.
Oh God, I figured 4.5 hours maybe it would be. My God. My mother, she amazed me. She didn't go to bed till 5:30 that
she
morning.
works so hard. Like,
my mother, unfortunately, well, she's kind of has a little bit of insomnia. That's why I don't mind when she calls late at night, because my mother's almost always up. And I don't get much sleep. Last night I may have got 2 hours of sleep.
Seriously, how many? Like Leather is all about doing like this entertaining, and she's a rock star, and she's a creator, and
this is the closest thing to my old Hollywood life that I miss so much. I really do. And the thing is that as far as the work goes, I'm not going to be able to get any kind of job that I get paid by check until I get my ID situation straightened out. And I still need to get a check reissued from Central Casting. Ooh, this is Peloton? Is this the bicycle Peloton?
I don't
Cascara
even know. It's tea.
Ooh. As opposed to Cascara Sagrada, which is a laxative.
Okay.
Okay. Ooh, organic coffee fruit, organic cane sugar, natural flavors, citric acid. Ooh, this is different.
I think
it's
cranberry and lime.
Okay. Oh, and it says it's a super fruit also. Okay. Cascara apparently means husk in Spanish. And it's a small fleshy fruit that surrounds the coffee bean, always also known as a coffee cherry. So it's loaded with antioxidants. And antioxidants are really, really, they're powerhouses. Antioxidants actually help your own, when you put sunblock on,
This will make you poop.
well, Cascara sagrada, yeah. Are you saying this from, from, or are you just saying because I said Cascara sagrada? There is a Senecot brand, since we're talking about that, it's chocolate flavored laxatives. Don't mistake it for candy, whatever you do. Oh, and watch out for xylitol also. Xylitol, they're the sugar-free candies that diabetics like to have. If you eat too many of them, they do have laxative effects. And another thing, xylitol is very poisonous to dogs. Do not let your dogs eat anything with xylitol. You can kill a canine with, so please be careful. And of course, needless to say, with chocolate, keep it away from your cats and your dogs. You know that, right? And also, you have to watch that mulch that's made from coffee bean or coffee stuff or chocolate. It's called theobroma. Anything that's made with coffee or chocolate especially, keep it away from cats. My cat, Tabby Boy, is scared of that thing. He runs, I think it hurts his ears or something. He runs underneath my bed. Oh, yesterday, tell me this makes sense. I fuss over my cat so that he doesn't feel, that separation anxiety and stuff. Lately, I've been running around a lot. He hasn't seen me a lot. I'm having a good week for once in my life. I'm actually having a fun time. I'm having a nice life. So my cat's, I guess, taking some time getting used to this. So he obviously wanted my attention yesterday. He meows at me, right? I go reach for him. He runs underneath my bed, which is what he pulls sometimes when I'm getting ready to film, and he doesn't want me to grab him for the turnaround. That's why sometimes I hold him when I do the turnaround, because if I don't, otherwise he sees as soon as I back up, do the turnaround, then he jumps down. If he was in the window, he goes under the bed where I can't reach him. Well, sometimes I let him go out in the kitchen. If he goes in the kitchen or out in the hall, if he goes in the kitchen, I can grab him. If he's out in the hall, though, he might very well go into my brother's room. If he goes in my brother's room, I don't have access to him. And Tabby Boy and Cassie both sometimes go into my brother's room. And if they stay there until I'm done filming, then I will end up having a cat-free video. If it's a video that I can edit, then maybe I can get some extra footage with the cats. That's what I do sometimes with the makeup videos. And there are some makeup videos that you haven't seen yet because I did them like just before I went to meet them a couple of days ago. I did the makeup on film first. Sometimes I do them in the video in the bathrooms here, but I don't like to show up with almost no makeup and then wait to do it in there, because that means that I have to walk around for a time with only my eyebrows done. And I don't want to be that undone up. I really like to look my best when I'm in these casinos. I want to be wearing a full face of makeup. There was a time when I wouldn't even wear flat shoes in casinos, but that said, Bally's is the one, probably the most informal of the casino properties. When the mountain bar downstairs, they have very uneven flooring where the dance floor is supposed to be. It looks almost like it was paved to look uneven. They originally had this like paper mache, like a robot of a gold miner or a silver miner, and they had a burro or a donkey that was also robotic, and he spoke, and there was a buzzard up in a fake cactus plant, and the people tossed money into the fountain. And then eventually some people hopped over the edge and they vandalized the miner guy. And so they ended up taking the figures out. And it's a shame because it was really cute, but they needed to use the space. They were able to put that bar in and then carve out that party pit, which is where the mountain bar is, and to have a place at the stage where they could have the bands and the DJs and everything that you see today. So they had to make room for that, but they never leveled off the floor. And so as a result, most of the people that go there wear sneakers and flat shoes and comfortable shoes, and it actually is physically uncomfortable to wear high heels there. So this is the property that I wear the most comfortable shoes. But in recent years, I've been wearing a whole lot of comfortable shoes because, frankly, the arthritis hits the feet sometimes. And when I wear high heels, instead of it just being sore at the end of the night, my feet are sore for days afterward. And it sucks because I would rather wear really beautiful shoes, and I still get shoe envy. Here, do you want to get in the frame? I still get shoe envy when I go out. In the daytime, nobody wears pretty shoes too much, but the later it gets, the fancier the shoes are, and it's almost always the chicks. I mean, if men wore better looking footwear, I'd be looking at their shoes too. Occasionally, you'll see some guy that'll wear wingtips or some fancy things. And then there's always the guys that wear the loafers with or without socks. Because some of these European guys, they wear their shoes, their loafers barefoot, and then sometimes they actually put pennies in them. And that probably wasn't done since the 50s. I don't know if they do that anymore. You know what? I better plug this, even if it even Whoops! I guess not.
I'm gonna.
Well, this is balanced very carefully on an ice bucket in the lid. It looks like it's almost on a bit of a tilt. Let's see if this.
We gotta pull it this way. You hold
Yeah, so it doesn't screech and squeal. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid having another computer dropping thing because I had a real scary incident that happened the other day. I dropped this computer, and when I went to plug it back in, it was not recharging at all. And I was afraid that my computer was finally going to need to be fixed. And I had a feeling, I thought that I was going to have to go to Best Buy the very next day. But, whoops. What ended up happening was I powered it down, turned it off, and I just went to bed.
I'm pulling it a little closer.
The next morning,
and
I went to plug it in, and fortunately, it began charging again, and it's been working fine ever since. And because of that, I'm able to continue filming. It would upset me so much if something happened and I had to stop filming for a while. So it's imperative that I keep at least one working something.
I'm pulling back like 3 more inches here.
Okay.
Okay. I got it. Like,
Oops. Yeah, because it tells me I have 27 minutes of battery life left.
hold on. Hold
Here.
on.
I'm gonna hold this.
I got it here.
I actually have a crew today. I'm so used to doing so much by myself, and you get pretty efficient. But you know what? This makes me really appreciate having help and coordinating. And
Leather pulled this way. Like, yeah.
I really like having an extra set of eyes and ears.
We got it now.
And Tiger has so many good ideas for photographs. I wish I had a way of showing you now some of the pictures that we were taking in the previous room that we had 2 days ago.
So
it was
super cute.
Similar. Okay, I'm going to show you something that give you an idea of one of the surfaces that she gave me an idea to pose on top of. You see how there's a refrigerator here? Well, there was a cubby hole thing that was a very narrow space that, whoops, I see something obscuring the screen you don't see. It started here. It's a very narrow space. She said, could I sit on there and maybe do something with my legs or something? Well, I sat, you see where the bottles are? I sat on there, threw my legs up. This was when I had the Hello Kitty boots. And, but unfortunately, instead of using a cell phone that had a better camera, I used my webcam. And my webcam, unless I get really, really, really close, it shows such blurry pictures. And it drives me crazy that it gets blurry because I don't understand why the quality is so bad. And the thing is, I have a clip-on webcam that's a good one that's somewhere in my house, and I haven't been able to find it. And I only used it one time,
because I didn't like how blue made my hair look. When I film a video, and if my hair looks blue, and I mean, blue's a pretty color. I mean, her sports car, she has a car, I think it's a sports car, I don't remember. It's this beautiful shade. It's like acid trip, I think. Even though acid trips are technically rainbows. And I can tell you, because I know what I've seen in my acid trips. And it's like, can you imagine raindrops falling, tiny little raindrops, and every raindrop is surrounded by a circular rainbow? That's a really beautiful acid trip I saw one time. And I actually did have a bathroom that had a bright blue, dark metallic, like a trick paint job blue. And I've always associated that as acid trip blue. So yeah, uh, I'm so glad to be able to do this live stream tonight. I wish you could see more of the view that I can see. And you can even see the marina casinos. And the great thing about the Golden Nugget is they use the whole building, and they show a series of ads for whoever the DJ is, or whatever band's in tour. And you can't see because of the glare, but it is just so awesome. And unfortunately, I only see a tiny little bit of the building from my house. Depending on where you look, like I can see from my grow room, I can see a little bit. I can see the Borgata sign, and I can see. I don't know if I could see anything Golden Nugget, but I wish I could actually see when they advertise the bands and things. And I haven't been to Golden Nugget since the Flashback Friday series.
Over a year ago.
I missed that.
Over a year ago?
Yeah, that was the last time I went. It was the space that used to be Haven. It's called something else. The last time I went to Golden Nugget was to see Beginnings. They're a Chicago tribute band. And they're absolutely, absolutely fantastic. If you love the band Chicago, you will love Beginnings. Now there's another Chicago tribute band that I've seen, and their name escapes me, but they're quite good. But Beginnings is better. I don't want to ever seem like I'm criticizing anybody, but I think they're the better band. The drumming is better. With the other band, they have a bongo player in addition to the drummer. And while maybe there's one song that maybe that's appropriate, and I think Call on Me would be the song that has the bongos in it also. But generally speaking, I think that having two drummers is kind of a little over the top and unnecessarily. There may be some individual cases where that's not true, but still, I never want to seem like I'm critical of these bands. I mean, the musicianship is so intense. They are fantastic, and a lot of those guys, they play in other bands. Like the guitarist in this Chicago band called Beginnings, his name is Johnny Roggio, and he also played on. There was a Broadway production. What's the name of that Broadway production? I think you may have seen about the '80s music. You remember what it was called?
I don't know.
But it was something. It was about '80s music, and I think it was here for a while. And I don't remember the name of it. Anyway, he played on guitar on that, and yeah, that was the last time I was at the Golden Nugget. It was at the Flashback Fridays. It was at the end of January.
I have a question for you, Leathur. I have a question for you, Leathur. If you were the mayor of Atlantic City, what would you do? And that's a heavy question. Like, yeah.
Assuming it was under my jurisdiction, or if it was possible for what I wanted to be under my jurisdiction. Because not everything that I would want the mayor to be able to do, maybe it would have to be done at the state level. But I have some ideas. I would like for them to have safe spots for people to smoke cannabis.
That's good. That's good.
I would like for them to have arrangements so that so many people stay in the casino hotels, and a lot of people are going to be coming to New Jersey to have a safe spot to smoke marijuana. And assuming they can find it, they're going to want a safe spot.
And when I don't understand where, like in the case with Resorts International, where in their very rules they say that even if you got a cigarette smoking room, they say no smoking of marijuana. And if obviously they want to encourage people to be able to obey the rules, and if people are going to be coming here and they're going to be resentful of saying, I have this stuff, I don't want to spill it, I don't want it to blow away, I don't want to be mugged, where can I safely smoke? And if they don't want to smoke in their cars, because what if they forget to take their key out of the ignition and the cop thinks that they were about to drive? They don't want problems. People want to know that they have a safe spot to smoke. And what if you're a single woman and you want to go on the beach? You know, occasionally women do get raped because if you cannot be seen because of the sand dunes, except for here, this is one of the few places here on the boardwalk where you can actually see all the way to the ocean. There's some places, and it's right here at Bally's.
And Mother,
We need safe spots to smoke.
there's a lot more than marijuana going
And
on.
there's another thing that I'm worried about.
If you're the mayor of
If I was
Atlantic
the mayor,
City,
I would like to do something about the litter. It is one thing that bothers me. You should see what people
the
do
mask and
to, and also, why don't we
and
have?
air quality.
Why don't we have special boxes to dispose of people's face masks? The only place that I saw they had receptacles was out in front of Hard Rock. They did have a box for masks. And the thing is, most people, they want to hold on to them because you need a mask to go in every other casino. You need it to get on a bus. You need it to get every place indoors. You need to have a face mask.
Unless you drop it in the toilet, and that's not a good thing.
And then, of course, somebody who doesn't know where it was dropped and thinks, I'm going to be doing you a favor and I'm going to wash it. And then, oh, that's the real story. Now, another thing that needs to be done, not only here, but a lot of places, we all want air that we can breathe, right?
Yes, yes.
And why is it, especially since we have this charming Joe Biden that said that we have to get rid of the Keystone pipeline. So you notice how gas prices have been raising? So why is it with the drivers that got to idle their engines? You got to sit in your car, you got to gun the engine, sit for minutes and minutes and minutes. Even in the wintertime, you do not need to run it to heat it unless you have a really, really old car. Why is it all these people got to sit and they do it in front of my house? Drives me batshit. They run their engine, and okay, maybe I need to get a life and not have to be looking out the window. But my mother, you gotta understand something. I am caregiver for my mother. She's 80 years old. She has heart failure, not just heart disease, but heart failure. Some people really need to be able to get a supply of oxygen. If you are going to be idling your engine, you know what that does to people. If say you live in an upper floor and you have a staircase, your staircase is enclosed. The air from your exhaust is going to go through your door, underneath the door, the sides of your door, fill up the staircase, enter your apartment. Even though we do have carbon monoxide detectors, just like we have smoke detectors, carbon monoxide is a silent killer. You cannot taste it. You cannot smell it. It is so dangerous. It kills people. People commit suicide running their engine and having everything closed up. That stuff is no joke. Even though you may be outside, it enters people's homes. If you have a very drafty house like I do, that when the wind blows, you know how cold our house is. So if you're going to be you're running your engine, it gets into people's apartments. And if you have somebody who has very fragile health, that can make my mother sicker than she already is. And I am so sick and tired of, I have copied down, if I get ballsy enough, I will come out and I will ask them very politely. I don't care. And these are some rough individuals, tough looking, gangster looking guys in trucks that look like they are real rough. And I am very polite to them. I say, look, excuse me, sir. You don't need to be gunning your engine, making the air really bad. We live there. Could you please? And plus, it's a city law. But laws are only good if they're enforced. And usually by the time, if I see a car that's been out there for an hour and he's unattended,
and I look at the license plate number and I call, I have to be very, very careful because if people know I snitch.
Let's talk about if you were the mayor of Atlantic City, what would you tax?
First of all, we tax too much.
Yeah.
You know what tax that people hate? The luxury tax. Would you please explain to me why is it some hotel casinos you book a room in, you're getting a comp room, you're a rated player. You deserve to be treated with respect for what you do going in gambling. Why is it they still have a luxury tax? You have to pay $25. You may have to pay $50 for your comped room. That adds up. I think it's important to show respect to the people that come here. Don't be nickeling and diming them and ganking them this charge and that charge. If they're already willing to come here, they like to gamble, you're going to give them a room. Don't give them this surcharge, this fee, and you're taxing things. And when you tax people, and the wealthier the people are that you're taxed, then you notice people are going to get sick and tired of being taxed. You're going to say, screw this, I will go someplace else. That will actually hurt a community. Look what's happening in New York. People don't like how seriously they're being taxed. And if you have a Donald Trump type and they totally move out, then you're going to find you need another revenue. And that's why things like the tickets, the cameras, when you run a red light or when you're speeding, those are revenue makers. Now we have a litter problem in the city. I don't think raising taxes is the answer. Taxes, really, it's a disincentive to working. But we do have to do something about the litter.
There's so much junk that goes in the ocean.
People get drunk and they're on the boardwalk and they throw their empties behind them. I know because I watched them do it. I have hopped over the railing, and if I'm wearing shoes that don't get sandy like Crocs, they're the best beach shoes around. And they might not be attractive shoes, but they are really comfortable, and you just hit them up against something because you're not supposed to track sand in your plumbing. All the condominium properties, they all have showers so that you don't get sand in, and you can get in a lot of trouble with the landlords and stuff if you don't wash your feet off when you're coming in from the sand.
If she's the mayor of Atlantic City, what she's gonna change her.
But we definitely need to do something about the litter. Now, why is it people come here? I've seen people go park their cars in parking lots, get a pack of cigarettes, hit it. I'm not sure what it does when you're hitting it. I don't know exactly what that does. Then they take their wrappers, let the air catch it. Some poor schmuck like me is probably out there picking up trash. Or you got volunteers, the church doing it. CREA, that's Casino Reinvestment Economic Division or whatever. They do the beautification of the facades, the t-shirt shops on the boardwalk. They have the fancy stylized fake roofs and the fancy landscaping. Or we take broken clamshells and we put them as mulch. It's a great non-poisonous mulch. It can't hurt your dogs and cats. And it shades out and keeps the seeds from weeds from sprouting. They plant flowers in front of the casinos, all those beautiful, the ornamental cabbage that turns purple and doesn't seem to be bothered by the frost.
Leathur, if you were Atlantic City mayor, obviously, I think you would make weed like free, and
I would like to do something about, obviously, people that want to get it safely. And I think the people would like to buy it without subsidizing gangs, but without the high prices of the dispensaries. The thing that people don't realize that I've learned through having friends and family members who are medical marijuana patients is medical cannabis is very, very, very expensive, but it's really, really, really high quality. But I would rather subsidize them than subsidize some guy standing in front of Popeyes. Oops, did I say where you could buy weed in Atlantic City?
No. Come on.
Everybody.
Do you think cigarettes should be taxed heavily?
They already are.
Well,
And the thing is, it doesn't.
How if you're the mayor of Atlantic City, like how can you make money? Like you have to like tax.
I don't think that's the best way to create revenue because you're really taxing. We have too much tax.
I know I'm putting you on the spot.
But I don't think that raising taxes is the answer. I'm a smaller government, lower tax. I'm a Republican. Hello.
Hi,
I may be a
Anthony.
social liberal, but I do not advocate higher taxes,
Hi,
especially
Anthony.
not for rich people. They pay more than their fair share of tax, and it's not the poor people that are providing jobs. The rich people are taxed too much. Why should somebody like a Sean Hannity pay over 50% of his income in tax? And the people getting up somebody's ass because they think he didn't pay very much tax, I think that it is a hallmark of somebody who went to a business school, who studied economics, who studied tax law. The whole idea is to pay as little tax as legal. That nobody wants.
Anthony's getting ready to say goodbye. It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
I have an announcement to make.
Oh.
We just fast forwarded 1 hour. It just officially happened.
Oh.
2 o'clock just became 3.
Well, that's right. Since he mentioned
3 or
that,
4.
one of the things I like to do is I like to look at my computer. Thank you for mentioning that. On the lower right-hand corner, it always has your date and your time. And you like to watch when daylight savings time, springtime, fall back, whatever. I like to watch, and in fact, the computer automatically corrects the time. 2 o'clock does turn into 3 o'clock, and vice versa. And it happens. And what he said, and yes, and that's a friendly, consider this a reminder to everybody that it is now officially daylight savings time, unless you happen to be in Arizona, and I think there's one other state. And wasn't there a state that now voted to not be doing the daylight savings time to change? But just, where you live, what the rules are. But yeah, so it is now officially 3:05 a.m. on the East Coast. And thank you for that announcement. Like I said, don't feel uptight just because I'm doing a live stream. If you want to share something, add to this, I welcome that. And thank you for adding to this. You added to the quality and the personality of this. I'm sure all of you watching, this adds to, it makes this more interesting. And that's what we want. And that's also a good way of knowing that your equipment works. Now, that also reminds me of something. Remember when Y2K was happening, this national hysteria? Everybody was afraid that their equipment wasn't going to work anymore. They were afraid that maybe the world was going to end. Well, my brother, I had come home for Christmas that year, and it was a very long Christmas vacation because I was trying to find an affordable apartment, long distance, and I wasn't doing a very good job. Well, when Y2K thing was going on, there were some people that were throwing like doomsday parties. There was a lot of superstitious people that thought that maybe the end of the world was going to happen. And I was even thinking that maybe there was going to be some doomsday cults or even some hardcore Christian sects that were thinking that maybe that was when Jesus was going to return or something. Or maybe the people would use that as an excuse to commit some terrorist attack or something. And of course, we all know that the following year, we had 9/11, which ended up being the really big, impactful thing in many people's lives. For my generation, it was my generation's JFK. Like some people, they had Pearl Harbor and JFK assassination and 9/11. And I really don't know what was big aside from that, except maybe a COVID thing. Maybe that's this generation's 9/11. I don't know. As far as, and yes, you can even think of this COVID thing as a man-made thing because it seems like maybe it was taken out of that Wuhan thing. And maybe Dr. Fauci, what did he have to do with all the millions of dollars that he's been making all this time? I really wonder. There's so much that we don't know.
Let's get back. If you were the mayor of Atlantic City, let's talk about kitty cats and like what would you do it with the kitty cats?
Okay, well, first of all, I would continue funding and supporting the Alley Cat Allies Boardwalk Cats project. One of the things they do, in addition to sterilizing all the cats and making sure that they get their shots and their regular medical
They
care,
do that ear thing.
and you can always tell a sterilized cat. It's called ear tipping. It's a universal symbol. You look at their ears, and one of them is a little bit more pointy. The other looks like it's got a little bit flatter, like a little bit of not a lot of the ears cut off,
And
just a
I
little
didn't
bit.
know that.
They give it a little local anesthetic so the cat doesn't feel it. Just a little bit. Don't think that you let your kids loose with a pair of scissors and a cat. That's not cool. I would also try to make sure that people are discouraged. Sometimes people adopt animals and they return animals to the Humane Society, and sometimes people try to return animals that were actually very friendly cats from the Boardwalk Cat Project. And there's a cat that I knew that I'm really worried about, whose name is SpongeBob. It's an orange marmalade tabby, and he was kept by one of the gypsies on our boardwalk. We have a lot of fortune tellers, gypsies. That's a real thing, and they get operate. They have these little shops, and they're licensed and everything. And one of them had SpongeBob. I will not name her name, but she had SpongeBob for like 12 years. And one day the landlord showed up and told her she had to get rid of her cat. And so she tried to get her children that live in Ventnor, the next city down, to take this cat in, and their kids weren't interested. So the cat was brought back up here, and I am afraid she may have asked a former friend of mine to take the cat back to the pound. And I told him that in the event that she asked him to do that, that I would hope that he would just not do that and just. I mean, the cat was outside in the colonies. Like, they have cat houses underneath the boardwalk. You might not be able to see them, but they're there, and they look like igloos, and they're called dogloos. And I used to help Alley Cat Allies twice a year, volunteer, replace the straw, and clean up the litter around there. But the only thing is they tend to do it in the time in the morning that has usually just about the time that I would be getting to sleep. 9 a.m. Saturday mornings don't tend to be very convenient for me. Plus the direct sun exposure, when you're that's still sun exposure. But they say the hours between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. you really need to stay out of the sun. And 9 a.m., especially when it gets warm, the sun is beating down. That's why I can never participate in the Zumba class and they had other classes that were right in the sun, and I can't be exposed to the sun. But I would definitely, I'm concerned about what if she had that guy take SpongeBob back to the pound. And I have, because he and I kind of are not speaking anymore, and I don't know if he really, it's because he's still angry at me, but first of all, I haven't seen him because I'm not running around trying to have contact with everybody because of COVID. Plus, he works every day, and there's no need for me to be rubbing elbows, again, because of COVID. But I would be beside myself if I were to find out that he took that cat to the pound, because that cat would have been put to sleep. And I've deliberately not asked the gypsy about SpongeBob, but I was very tempted to ask her today. I had passed by her shop, and if I had seen her there, I would have asked her. And I thought I may have even prefaced it with saying, I need to know, and I want to say something diplomatic, but with words to the effect that I don't want to be lied to. And the thing is, you don't want to piss off the gypsy, so I have to be polite about it. But the thing is, I've known her a real long time. We used to play pennies at the cash contraption at Tropicana.
Real quick, gypsy. They do the tarot cards, and you can do
they
like,
do or
like
any kind of divinations.
and like
They could read your hands. Some of them.
yeah. So
how trustworthy they are. I heard some of them are real.
So
scandalous.
It's palm reading, and it's the tarot cards.
It's palm or tarot cards, or maybe some of them might use runes. which I do
What
rune
is
casting.
that?
Those things, they're a lot of times they're made on stone, or they can be made on shells. They're usually made with natural material, and they have symbols on them, like an arrow symbol. Or one of my favorite rune symbols looks like a fish standing on its tail, and it's called Odal. It looks like a diamond with an upside down V underneath, and that's a symbol for home. When I lived in San Francisco, I would often, if I wore fishnet stockings, I had these runes that were on a deck of cards, and cards like that are obviously much lighter weight, and you could stick a card, a playing card, depicting a rune of the energies you wish to attract in your life. And so the Odal rune is one of my favorites because that means movable possessions, which means basically money. Odal also, some people said oxen, because oxen, again, a movable possession, and animals were traded like we, as currency, kind of like we use money. And anyway, we need money to survive. So that was an energy that I wanted to attract in my life. So I would wear that as a rune, and obviously to wear pebbles, maybe one like a rune carved into a pebble or something could be a necklace, but a whole set of runes. An Elder Futhark is 28, I believe. There's another system that has a little bit less. I forget its name, but it's a divination system that you can also combine more than one, and more than one rune together. They're called bind runes, and you can get really creative and draw them any way, and they end up functioning as a sigil.
Can I answer?
And a sigil is a symbol that symbolizes something and attracts energies and communicates those energies. And a sigil is able to influence people that don't even know what it stands for just by the virtue of them seeing it. And it can look like anything. It can look like circles and squiggly lines and squares. And some of those are actually believed to be symbols of various deities, like the voodoo practitioners worship, or practitioners of various religions in Africa and the Caribbean. And it's really interesting, but you can use many different things. The thing is, not all of these gypsies are legit, and you have to find somebody who is real. Or if you don't want to chance a gypsy, find a witch. Again, find somebody who's trustworthy. And good luck on that. But they should be, because there is, if a person does something dishonorable, there is a real heavy karmic price to pay for taking advantage of somebody. It's like if a doctor took advantage of somebody. It's a very low thing to do.
I have a question. Is this like the pendulum?
Is what?
The pendulum.
What, you mean pentagram? What about it?
Like
It's a magical symbol, yes. And I think the main reason why people such as myself wear them when we wear them, it's a way to identify others.
But is that related to the gypsy thing?
It can be, in that some of the gypsies, some of them are Christians actually, like the ones from Romania. For instance, gypsies don't have to be from Romania, but many of them are from there. The gypsies, some of them may wear pentagrams, but then again, some of them may not, because a lot of times people assume that if you're wearing a non-inverted pentagram, people will assume that it's Wicca, which Wicca uses spellcraft. Many Wiccans do use things like tarot cards, which can divine your future, can also give...
And that's the same kind of deck, but the tarot cards.
Yeah. And there's hundreds of different kinds of tarot decks. You can design your own, and many of them have roughly similar associations where certain cards kind of equal each other. Like their cards are numbered, and some of them have stand for, like in some systems, planets or concepts. My favorite deck happens to be called the Voyager Tarot, and it has really beautiful photoshopped images of things like quartz crystals, things like celestial phenomena, stars, constellations, flowers, just really intensely beautiful collages of mostly natural things. And I don't know if it can be used exactly like a Rider-Waite deck, which most people who read tarot are familiar with. And some tarot decks have kind of specific interpretations, and others are more loose interpretations. And some people totally have their own symbolism, and they work with the deck enough time that they just know what the cards mean.
I have a quick question. It's related. Leather. The crystals. Like the rocks. I don't know. Like some people believe in like there's like crystals. And
Well, here's what I love about crystals. Crystals can vibrate. Crystals can amplify energy and amplify thought form. So if you have a crystal, and first of all, if you've never used it before, it's good to cleanse it with running water or with salt. And so to remove the previous owner's influences, which you probably don't want, you want it to respond to you and to be a working tool. Crystals can be used as tools. Some people look at crystals like a friend that isn't able to physically communicate with you. I don't know that I would go so far, but in a way, that is a very nice way to look at it, because it's a possession that you keep with you that you can use to help you to focus your mind and attract certain energies into your life. Crystals can, sometimes a person will wear a necklace like of hematite, for instance, and hematite is known as a grounding stone. And if I know I'm going to be going someplace where it's going to have really groovy energy, so I might wear some of my crystals because I'm thinking maybe I would like my crystal to be around this particular energy. And that's why it's always very important to ask, if you're the kind of person that naturally looks by touching with your hands, always ask first, because you might not know that this artistic pendant that a person is wearing might actually be a religious item. And most people probably don't want somebody to put their hands on things unless you really, really know and trust the person and it's no thing. But especially if people have electronic equipment that, you have to not have it drop from your hands or something.
can I ask another question?
Yeah.
It's kind of religious.
Okay.
This might be a heavy question.
Oh, ask everything. So if I get in trouble with some people, oh well,
You were Catholic.
I was.
And
I was raised Catholic, yes.
And you had a mind shift.
I did. It was quite young. I was like 9 years old when I was seeing certain hypocrisies and inconsistencies, which I had a hard time processing. And most kids don't even notice these things, but it was really bothering me. I was seeing, because my parents had me go to CCD class so that I would, I was
what is CCD?
Catholic Charismatic Doctrine. It's a way for people who are not going to a parochial school. It's kind of like Sunday school, but instead of being only on Sundays, it's like can be Monday through Friday. And that way, if you're going to public school,
I have a quick question.
You can learn about the doctrine. And believe it or not, even though I was raised Catholic, I didn't have an adequate concept of certain things that I understand better now. Not that it really makes sense.
I have a quick question. Your parents paid for you to go to Catholic school, right?
Only for 7th and 8th grade. It was because they didn't want me to get my ass whooped in Central and Chelsea Junior High School. There was a problem in Atlantic City's history of very serious racial upheaval. Even though there used to be kind of segregation was here, there was a north side and a south side. And that was where, aside from, white people did go to certain rhythm and blues clubs, music is the one great unifying thing that everybody loves.
And if people want to listen to good music, they're going to go where the good music is. That's why there was a Harlem Renaissance. And there not a lot of white people went, but enough people did because they knew that there was good quality music. And music lovers will go where the music is. But when the civil rights thing started happening in the 60s and the desegregation happened to be the thing, then you started seeing more black people in the Atlantic City public schools, including in white neighborhoods. And my neighborhood, from what I recall as a little kid, we remember when there were biker gangs and I was playing bongos on the roof of a car to the radio station was playing the Rolling Stones' Brown Sugar, and I'm getting into it, beating bongos on the car, and there's biker gangs, but I didn't know it at the time because when you're a kid, especially if things don't seem overt, you don't know that there's criminal activity going on. You don't know that people are drinking. You just know that people vroom, vroom, vrooming their bike and they're having a lively party scene. That's all you really know. But by the time I was 9 years old, I started seeing enough inconsistencies and hypocrisies in the church, and so I stopped going. It bothered me. I saw things that I didn't think were right, and I started believing less and less. Now, through the years, I noticed a lot of times with people as they get older, they revisit their childhood faith, and I think a lot of it stems from a fear of death. We humans are one of few animal species that actually knows that we're going to die. Most of the animal kingdom doesn't seem to know that. And to not know that your life has a limit. I remember being a little kid and not entirely sure that everybody dies, even though all the historical people somehow died. But until your childhood heroes start dying, and it proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that death is a real thing, I think that maybe there's that hope that maybe it doesn't happen to everybody. But you then figure out that it happens to everybody. So we now have this thing called religion, and we've had religions for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And the thing with religions is this: until roughly 100 years ago, when mankind started flying and traveling and being able to travel, didn't just involve many, many months of traveling, taking a very dangerous ocean voyage. When we travel now, cultures, we can have this cultural mix. Before that, our religion was something that was passed down from generation, maybe 20, 30 generations. And because it was almost everybody believed the same religion. It was accepted as absolute fact. This faith that people had, we Americans tend to think and normalize mostly Christianity and Judaism, and we accept that that seems most normal to most people in our society because most Americans seem to fall into the Judeo-Christian envelope. But because worldwide people, aside from COVID, of course, we are a mobile society. We have so many cultures now that it is not so exotic to have Hindu friends and have people who belong to all these different religions. And most of the people belonging to these religions have no shadow of a doubt. They absolutely truly believe that their religion is not only the truth, but it's the only way. And everybody seems to believe that their way is truth. When I was last in California and I was eating at the Hare Krishna temple, they were saying that was the only way. And the Hare Krishnas, that is basically a more orthodox form of Hinduism. They take the very strict expectations of the most devout Hinduism, and they believe that because we have this force called Maya that attaches you to the material world, and the more you love the physicality, the sensuality of wonderful food and the beautiful clothing and colors. Despite the fact that the Hare Krishna food is some of the most exquisite, tasting, wonderful food, and food is a sensual, pleasurable experience. It's not just the nutrition that we all need. So on the one hand, we have this wonderful, tasty food, and they wear these beautiful vestments with the gorgeous colors, and you can't help but admire these beautiful things. And of course, they love Krishna, and they have this beautiful artwork painted. He's blue for some reason, and he's wearing all these colors. And I'm thinking to myself, what beautiful colors, and it's okay to appreciate the sensuality of looking at the artwork representing Krishna, and it's okay to taste the beautiful food. And they do believe that if you eat the food that has been chanted over, that it makes your evolution easier and you don't have to go through as many births and deaths, and you're no longer incarnating. And that's supposed to be the ultimate goal, but you have to stop so much of your love for the physical. But the thing is, how many people are willing to live a totally ascetic life, totally turn down all their pleasures of the flesh? These are people whose married couples, the only time they have sex is when they want to conceive a child. And other than that, there's no sex. And the only people that are allowed to have sex are the people who are married. So the people who are the devout Hare Krishnas, they totally deny themselves so much. So the question where this all gets, I'm going full circle here. If the most devout religious people believe that the best way to get to heaven and to please the God of their understanding is to totally deny themselves all pleasure. And so this one life that we have guaranteed, unless you do believe in a whole bunch of other lives, why would you want to deny yourself pleasures in this one life you're guaranteed to have in hope of having a really great heaven? And what if there is nothing after you die? Then you've destroyed any chance of having a fun life in hopes of what's happening afterward. That's my problem with religion. I really want to live in the now. I want to live in the present. I want to be appreciative of the time that I have here. I don't want to waste that time being unhappy or waste that time thinking heaven will be better, so I'm willing to put up with being miserable now. That's no way to live. I want to appreciate my friends. I want to appreciate good food and drink. I want to appreciate stray cats and my cats. I want to appreciate good music. I want to be able to go out to clubs and dance again. I want to have a quality of life. I don't want to wait all for when I'm dead in heaven. I mean, maybe there is a heaven. I hope there is. I hope all my friends are there. I hope my cats will be waiting for me, my cats who died. Believe me, I would love nothing more than for that all to be true. But my personal opinion is the older I get, evidence might not be there. And I don't want to shit in your cornflakes. But anyway, that's my concern with religion. If I ever get the proof, I'll be the first in line. I would be disingenuous to lie to you and tell you otherwise.
I have a question.
Sure.
It's about food in Atlantic City. Love and Rokk, food. Everybody loves food. And
Well, I will continue to plug my favorite place to get sushi and Chinese food if you're not afraid of an expensive sushi. I know a lot of people think that cheap and sushi should not be said in the same sentence. Guess what? There are exceptions, and there's a place called Yummy, and they are right next to Formica Brothers Cleaners. Formica is a big Atlantic City family. You have somebody that was head of the Atlantic City Republican Club until fairly recently, or maybe he still is, I don't know. I would love to join. I just don't want to be necessarily members of anything where the dues ends up cutting into other things I have budgeted. I mean, I could buy a concert ticket for that, and I still want to see Kiss when they do their tour this year. So,
what is that bakery?
Yummy,
Yeah, talk about yummy.
The Yummy is right next to. It's on Mississippi Avenue, and it's right next to Formica Brothers Cleaners. It's on Atlantic Avenue.
It's very close to the outlets.
Yeah, and if you know
Walking distance.
if you know where St. Michael's Church is, or if you know where Bass Pro Shops is, it's right across the street from Bass Pro Shops parking lot. And there's some really cool wall murals around there that, if you appreciate the art, that's right there. You could stand there and you could pivot all the way around, and you could see some of the art that I showed on my channel is there. But I would definitely go to eat that place. And I keep on meaning to go and get another menu. They do deliver. And that's important to know, even though, of course, we are able to sit down, but that place only had like 3 chairs, or 3 tables in it. And so it really wasn't one of those places that you would sit down and eat.
Maybe honorable mention, like White House Subs.
Okay, if you like your hoagies, grinders, subs, sandwiches of that nature, White House Subs is sometimes the famous. Really is that good, and it's good for a reason. If Frank Sinatra, when he was playing Vegas, would have them flown, I mean, who flies food in? But if you richer than God and you don't care about that, obviously you're that good. In the lines, whether you're going to the original location or whether you're going to the Taj Mahal location.
San Francisco, no, he flew Frank Sinatra to like Las Vegas or.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if you like your rye bread, there's one place that is heads and tails above the rest, and that's Ginsberg's Bakery. I hope they're still in existence. My father, when I was a little girl, he used to get like a baker's dozen of bagels, and that's 13, if you didn't know. And 2 or 3, if not more, bags of rye bread. And rye bread we think is best is the kind with the caraway seeds, and it's always got a little bit of cornmeal on the bottom. A good rye bread, is such a joy. And it just, even just to toast some and put butter on it, and maybe shake a little bit of salt on it, that elevates it. It just makes it sublime. There is nothing like good rye bread, except maybe good San Francisco sourdough. And I'm not saying that you have to be in San Francisco to have sourdough bread, but there is something about, I got exposed to so much rye bread, and well, not so much rye bread there, but sourdough bread in San Francisco. There's an organization called Homes Not Jails, and an organization called Food Not Bombs. And Food Not Bombs actually got started first, and they often get donated food by restaurants. Food would otherwise go to waste gets donated to these organizations. Well, sometimes bakeries donate their day-old bread. I got to experience sourdough for the first time, and I'm sure I've had sourdough. It has maybe a little bit of the starter, but this has that sour, but not overtly so, taste, a dense texture. To me, bread it shouldn't melt in your mouth and be like dough. That's disgusting. I want a crusty, tough bread that, they tend to have more vitamin E in it, which is a natural antioxidant. They tend to have more whole wheats in them, again, are much better, more fiber, much better for the body, and they have omega-3 fatty acids in there. They're so good for you. But I would definitely recommend that. But it was, I think, it may have been on Maryland Avenue, or someplace was kind of out of the way. I don't think it's the kind of place that I can walk. And there are places that wouldn't be safe for me to walk, like going inland. They have these high towers that are for senior citizens or disabled, and there's some people that I know that are living there. I'm thinking, how the heck did you qualify for there? And I don't know how some people get in, like some of these senior citizen high-rise buildings, and you have to have, they have security before you can even get in. before they unlock it. They have to verify that you have eligibility to get there. So yeah, it's pretty. They're taking it pretty seriously. It's about time because for a while there, I was wondering if they were ever going to get the memo. I wish I didn't have that glare. I wish I could show you guys my view, but it's just because I can't. What it is I can't do anything about the glow from my computer. And even if I turned the brightness down, what it would do is it would probably turn the brightness down for those whatever you see in the background. Arthritis. Ouch. Yeah, I'm sorry you can't see my view.
Anthony, like really, we're talking about like we're doing like yeah. Now you're quiet. Now you're shy because we heard it all.
Yeah. It's getting lively here. I tell you, I don't think it's right to live a boring life if you can help it. We have to appreciate the life that we have. And I think it's so important to try to live in the moment. Go for your adventures where you can, especially if they're going to be safe ones. Don't waste your life being miserable if you can do something about it. So if you can get the shot. And if your governor tells you it's safe to travel, and you know it's safe, people are missing that. People are missing being able to see the country. People are missing being able to have a quality of life. And I'm hoping that people get vaccine so that they can do things, so that people can open up the dance floor, so that you don't get yelled at by security when you're standing at your own table. You see, this is why it would be nice if I had light hitting you from on there, but unless I get right close and maybe some of the light from the computer is coming. Because you see, if I stand too far away from the light, it's like you can't even see the purple here.
So, Leathur, have you showcased your beads for St. Patrick's Day?
Oh, yeah. When I saw so many people on the boardwalk wearing green, and since I had to go home to get my notebooks that I wouldn't have been able to do this video with, and I'm thinking I got 3 braids that had beads in it. Why didn't I change the damn beads? So it delayed me 5 more minutes. They were comfortable where they were at, so there was no reason for me to I didn't think anybody got deprived of anything. And I figured it was the least I can do. And I also decided to wear this since this is green.
Very nice.
But I didn't want to change out of the black dress. I really thought that it was ideal for everything else. I didn't want, if I'd have worn a green dress, it would have looked too informal. And I didn't want to, since I knew I was going to be doing the nightlife, I wanted to look as dressy and cool as possible so that the pictures would be more suitable for year round. And something about black velvet, that's kind of, I think, can be suitable for year round. And she had so many good ideas for pictures. She really did. And that's how I got the thumbnail that I put for this. That picture was taken at the Laurel Lounge here in Bally's. And that was really, in the daytime, that would have been a really great view behind me. You could see the giant Ferris wheel. Excuse me. I didn't know you could yawn and burp at the same time. Boy, that's amazing. And yeah, I'm sorry if I'm seeming like I'm rude. Maybe I'm more tired than I realize.
How many people are 7 people are 7 likes?
Well, we got 7 likes.
And one person.
But there was as many as 4, or I think there was as many as 8 there at one time.
Yeah.
And I know that there's some people, there's going to be a lot more on the broadcast.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of you guys are still there. Well, I value everybody.
Yes.
I'm probably
yes.
not going to be doing this too much longer because it is getting late, and I'm kind of surprised that I haven't heard from some parts of the world. Sometimes
It's
check in.
Scotty's birthday. His birthday weekend, and
That is so wonderful. She was here a couple of days ago. Not 2 days later, she calls me up saying that her boyfriend got off work and it's his birthday and they were coming back. And I couldn't believe it. And then, okay, I didn't think, okay, they're going to be back. I didn't know that we would be hanging out this long, but they're really making a party out of it. And it's great because we keep on running into more and more people that we know, and they're knowing more people in the different VIP lounges.
And people are coming back to Atlantic City that haven't been here in a while, and
yeah, now that it's opened up so much more than it was around election day. When you think of the things that, and after a while, it was too late and people were searching for places to eat. And now it's so much easier and a lot more places are open. So, and I love seeing that people are working again. I mean, occasionally I do get concerned thinking that they're potentially exposed for hours at a time, but everybody's wearing protective equipment, including sometimes N95 were the equivalents, and the face shields, which protect the eyes. Now they're saying you also should be concerned about the eyeballs. So studies suggest that people that wear sunglasses or any kind of lenses that gives some kind of protection. So really, I don't understand why anybody would want to not avail themselves of anything to keep themselves safe. We have this technology. We know so much more than we did when we had that big flu 100 years ago. A lot of people were caught by surprise. They wore masks at first, but when they thought that things were starting to take a turn for the better, they stopped wearing masks. And then the thing came back, and a lot of those people got killed. So hopefully, we will. Modern medicine has come so much further since then. So maybe we're going to be getting a booster shot for this every year. That'd be interesting. Is that from older things?
yeah, that's a souvenir for me. I like just seeing this.
Well, that's how. Yeah, I find that when I construct my videos, doing them on paper, even if, because a lot of times they're shot sequentially, sometimes they aren't.
She works so hard. Yeah.
I realize that if I don't do it, it doesn't get done. But sometimes I wonder.
From the moment of the turnaround to I don't even know, but she does it all. Yeah.
It's a labor of love. It's fun. It really is coming up with subject matter that I think people would be interested in. And there are going to be some things that have a definite entertainment thing, and there are some things that are more of an informative, educational.
Sorry, you don't want to
People love to learn things.
say hello on your birthday to Leathur.
And some people, people watch things for different purposes. And I don't always know why people subscribe to me. Sometimes it's obvious if it's a makeup video and you have name makeup in your name, then that's easy to figure it out. But some people, different people like different things. And the skincare things that I'm going to be doing more of, I'm thinking maybe once a month I want to do some kind of visually interesting skincare video that might have some humor or some whatever elements to it, but at least be visually interesting. If what I'm trying to show you isn't interesting to look at, it's almost what's the point? And I think that if I have a really good enough mix of enough different kind of things, that hopefully everybody will be happy. I'm trying to please everybody, and they say you really shouldn't try to do that. But because I'm not niche down, I'm dealing with all these different subjects that I care about, and I'm hoping that it makes everybody happy because I am happier if you're happy. Unless, of course, the only thing would make you happy would be for me to shut up talking about politics. Like I said, that's not going to happen. I'll be saying nice things about Trump for a long time, and I'll bitch and moan about whatever it is I have to bitch and moan about because, I love my First Amendment.
And she might be in Facebook jail, but
yeah. Oh, and that's probably going to be
another
video about Facebook jail. Let's just say I've gotten intimate knowledge of said thing. It's not just a social construct, it's a reality. Yeah, and if it weren't for the fact that you could still instant messenger on it, even though you can't make public posts, so if you need to contact a friend, you could still contact a friend, but you just can't do it publicly. So that's the one good thing about it that I didn't know. Because normally, if I think that I'm kicked off for a while, I won't even try. But hey, if that's how they're going to do it, then I understand. Oh, you're going to show them my clapboard?
yeah.
Well, what do you guys think? Oh, let me see if this is worth showing. This is not a place that I was in, but this is a menu from Guy Fieri. They really were playing some good music last night. It was classic rock with a definite emphasis on the rock. And if I ever got to meet this guy, I would ask him why he pronounces his last name the way he does. Because he doesn't talk like that. It's not like if he had an accent that I could understand.
Let me see that. How much is like a freaking burger? Yeah.
Oh,
a burger.
Too much. I'm sure.
Hold on. Salads. $19 for a bacon mac and cheese burger. $19. Right there. Yeah.
They have a machine that you can make filled hamburgers.
$19. I'm not making this.
It's cheaper than the $30 burger that I keep on being asked about. It was one of the people that Emmanuel, who's not in my chat room right now, but he keeps on asking me about the $30 burger. I'm flattered that you guys think that I eat stuff that's that expensive. I mean, I love hamburgers as much as the next guy. Trust me, I love hamburgers, but certain things you can't justify the expense. And that's one of them. So, let me see if there's anything else to show. I want to definitely show these lighting fixtures because I think they're really cool. And I'm not going to violate anybody's right to privacy. Once I start doing that to people, then they'll figure that I can't be trusted, and it will ruin our relationship. So I don't want to do that. Oh, this Plexiderm stuff, I don't know about that. What I want to know about this, they say that it works for several hours. So what happens if you put it on and you go to a party and you sit to have a real long night? And what if not everybody, you figure, well, everybody's probably going to get messed up. But what if there's a bunch of sober people there and you're there later and later and all of a sudden this stuff starts to wear off? And when you first went there, you didn't have any bags under your eyes, okay? And you didn't have any wrinkles to say it was all smooth and stuff. And this stuff starts wearing off. And you're counting on everybody being drunk, and not everybody's drunk. And what if people start taking pictures of you? And all of a sudden these bags start appearing that weren't there before. And these aren't people that already see you all the time, that they know that you're wearing this Plexiderm stuff. Then what are you going to do? And I bet it's really expensive. And also, some of those things, there was a version of this stuff that you couldn't have any moisturizers or any skincare stuff underneath it. And what if, for instance, you couldn't even have sunblock? You can't, sunblock is not anything negotiable. You need to wear sunblock. Even in the wintertime, I don't care. Even if you stay indoors, unless you're in bed all day, you need to wear sunblock because the sun gets at you through windows. If you're 3 feet from a window, and if you're in a car, there is no way to avoid sun. And I don't even mean if you're a passenger or if you're driving and you got your arm out. Half the drivers do that. You ever seen somebody that does that? If they don't wear sunblock, one side of their face has got much more wrinkled than the other, and it's even a little bit darker, and it's got more freckles because of the sun. The sun is no joke. And if you can't afford tinted window glass, rather not tinted, some states that's illegal, including New Jersey, or it can only be slightly tinted. But if you can't afford UV rays, you got to really stay out of the sun in a vehicle. I have to cover my legs and the back of my neck and stuff when I ride a city bus. I cannot be exposed to the sun. So you have to be very careful. Anyway, I want to show you here. I want to show this art. You can always take advantage of art in these casinos. They have so much artwork hanging in the corridors, in the guest lobby, in the guest rooms, in the lobbies, in also on the in the hotel room floors. There's all kinds of art. Now, Resorts International, the focus is mostly Art Deco. Now, if you go into Claridge, that I showed you where the guy jumped, now they don't have a casino there. They used to have a casino there. When it stopped being a casino, it reverted into being a boutique hotel. And I think they have the deal is it could probably never be a casino again. And why they have these agreements, that's something about real estate that I will never understand, how it can be legal that once, like for instance, if you have a Wawa and a building is a Wawa, once it goes out of business, it's no longer a Wawa. Any other business that takes over that spot, they cannot sell any of the same things that the Wawa sold, which means that pretty much once Wawa moves into a neighborhood, even if it leaves, it ruins the neighborhood because you can't do business doing anything that competes with that store. That's pretty fucked up if you ask me. So why they do that? And anyway, the Showboat here, there used to be a casino, it is now a boutique hotel. And I don't think that can ever have gambling. And I think it's ridiculous because I thought that was such a great place. And then it had the House of Blues. And we loved the House of Blues. That was one of my favorite spots to catch concerts because there was no such thing as a bad seat in the house. This is the bathroom. See, the bathroom in Resorts had a glass window on the shower. It'll be interesting to see if this bathtub you can actually fill with water. Now, the interesting thing happened the last time I tried to take a bath in a casino hotel room. It was at Bally's, and by chance, this particular night at 6 a.m., they were having a planned fixing of the electrical system, so they had a temporary power outage. And we all knew this. We had advance notice of this. At 4:44 in the morning, I decided to start running water for the bath. And I decided to sit in it and let it run. And it was running and running and running. And it was not filling up. And I was trying to fiddle with the thing which makes the stopper come up so that it would fill up. And I couldn't seem to get it to fill up. And what I ended up doing was I took the tub rug and I lifted it up and I sealed it back down over the drainage thing to try to keep the water from draining up. That said, I can never get any deeper than 3 inches. I'm trying my best. I have my hair in plastic so it doesn't get wet, right? Then I'm trying to get as wet as possible under 3 inches of water. Then the lights finally shut off. But I knew.
Fucking button.
What?
Come on, man.
Oh, I thought you were saying something about weed. Oh. I got weed in the brain. And Dementia Joe and the hoe on the brain,
Yeah,
too.
that's
Oh,
what-
did I say that? Ooh, I could get in trouble. You know, you can't talk about the election irregularities now without getting a certain kind of strike. It's not a copyright strike, but you can get in trouble unless you sneak it so deeply into a live stream that they don't notice. Election was stolen, fraud, 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 fraud. See? I'm sorry. Everybody in our room are Trump supporters. Every one of us.
Leather, I had something really important to say.
Oh, well, let's say it.
If we don't have a Supreme Court, like what, like they never even wanted to hear like the Trump thing.
They refused to even listen to it. I don't understand. And they were so disloyal. These were judges, the most recent ones Trump appointed. And what about even the lower level? He got a lot of judges in, and they were just
like
not
Supreme Court of the land. And Trump had all these lawyers, and like if
they didn't help us. They refused to recount, or when they did recount, you notice they recounted all the ballots, including the ballots that were the bad ballots. Of course, if you count the same things the same way, it's going to be no different. They would not discount the dead people that should not have been counted, the illegal aliens which shouldn't have been counted, the juveniles that voted too should not have been counted.
Criminals.
And the criminals. You know, they kept on recounting the same exact way. Of course, you're not going to get any different results.
What's the point of having a Supreme Court if they're not even listening to?
That's right. They flat out refuse. And I don't understand.
Where the hell are you going to go if you're not going to go to the Supreme Court?
That's right, because that's the highest.
Yeah.
And if they refuse to hear something, then what do you do? And if you can't trust the Supreme Court, and especially now that with Merrick Garland,
everybody wants to be silenced now.
Yeah,
and like they don't want to talk about it now.
With Biden in now, he's going to get, and if God forbid anybody dies, he's going to get in his guys. You know, they're trying their best to undo everything President Trump did, and that's what he's been doing, signing all these executive orders. Name any other presidents that have signed executive order after executive order after executive order and gotten away with it, not asking Congress, not putting it up for a vote, just signing it in. If President Trump had done it, they'd have been up his ass like an enema. And you know it. It would have been up his ass like, well, I could talk about certain neighborhoods and I don't want to alienate anybody, because if you like my channel, I don't want to alienate you, and I don't want you to think I dislike you. I don't want to give that vibe. But yeah, there are so many things that are going on by way of corruption, and it just isn't right. And how it's continued to go on, I don't know. It's just, and the thing is, they're using COVID as an excuse. What do Democrats usually say? Never let any tragedy go to waste. Even I think they catch President Obama saying it once in a hot mic, talking about that they live for something that unites the country, unites the world, like a public health crisis. What a greater way to get people's attention, and also to violate people's constitutional rights. And the thing is that once you lose your rights, very rarely do you get them back. Let's see how many of our rights we get back after COVID-19 is in our rearview mirror. Let's see. There's a lot of people that are afraid that the surveillance state, this thing, okay, the contact tracing, a lot of people were very suspicious about that. Do you really want big tech to have any more of your personal information? Do you trust big tech with sensitive medical stuff? Now, I'm sure that's got to be a violation of the HIPAA laws.
Hey, Leather, have you heard about the Trump, all the people that were outside of Trump Plaza in New York, and President Trump, I'm still calling it President Trump. He looked down and he saw the big flag, and there was like a parade of people.
That was like the biggest.
There's so many supporters of him. Yeah.
It's got to make him feel good to know how loved he is. I can only imagine, because he's a man, he's got a great pride and a great ego, and didn't entertain the possibility that this election could be stolen from him. And it hits me in my gut thinking of what it must do to him and his family. And thankfully, he knows that he is loved by so many millions of people. And when he does decide to go and do a drive-by to let people know, and how thrilling that had to have been, I can't imagine. And if it would have been safe for me to get to Florida and CPAC, I would have wanted to be there so badly. That is seriously a very serious goal of mine. And I would like to tell you that I'm pretty sure that within 5 years I am going to get there. I gotta see it, and I can think it would be a lot easier for me to get there while I'm still on the East Coast. Because if I'm still on the East Coast, I can always take public transit there. I don't know. I'm still kind of intimidated by the thought of getting a driver's license again, especially if I'm going to be driving something as big as a bus. That seems very scary to me. But that said, you can have a little sports car and you can accidentally sideswipe things. And so I'm just going to have to get used to driving again. And of course, yeah, I have to be able to see the road to do it too. Because my vision, sometimes I feel like I have films on my eyes. Like, I hope I don't have cataracts or glaucoma or something. But hey, if I did have glaucoma, maybe that could help me to get my medical card, which even though I don't need one, but it would give me much better access to really, really, really good marijuana. Really good. Plus, it would also, that's the thing is, a lot of places don't have reciprocal agreements. Even if I got a New Jersey medical card, that would not get me into the dispensaries in Washington, D.C., which a lot of people actually get the weed from the dispensaries and then sell it back to their friends. That's what a lot of people do. So, yeah. Oh, should I show them the hallway?
Actually, I was gonna get a picture of you,
Oh, okay.
in the bathroom,
Yeah, she has. Everybody with their cell phones takes so much better pictures.
No,
And-
you're like a waitress holding that,
Yeah, I carry it kind of like a cake, and it's starting to. My wrist has been doing this arthritic thing, and at least I know what the cause of the pain is. But it's one thing when it's just a dull ache that lasts for weeks at a time, like happened about the time that I broke my finger. But then the kind of pain that I was getting in my hand yesterday was so bad that I actually took one of the leftover painkillers from my dental procedures, but that was just a stronger form of ibuprofen or something. I would prefer taking an aspirin thing, but the thing is, aspirin is a blood thinner. And as it is, if I ever think I'm having any kind of heart symptoms, I chew aspirin right away. I know it's not good for the teeth, but aspirin can help prevent can help prevent clotting associated with heart attacks. And since obviously I have that in my family, since my mother has heart failure, so because of that reason, I have to watch it. And since I don't have a doctor, I honestly don't know my health status. I mean, I know things like HIV status because I got tested and I've always had negative tests, but I don't know how my heart health is. But the good thing is that they have more and more things like the Cardia Mobile, that is basically a portable EKG, and most of the fitness watches in the Apple Watches, of course, if you want to go that route. They all have EKGs. So I have a feeling I'm going to have access to EKG. And once I do, I'll be able to share it with my mom because I'm sure she would feel safer knowing she has an EKG. And since they said that they think that she failed her stress test, she may have even had a kind of heart attack that we didn't even know she had. Just like my father had more than one stroke, that there was evidence of strokes that my father had that leave certain evidence on the human body that a trained doctor or technician can determine. So, yeah, life's getting interesting. Oh, I'm also proud of, there's a few things, more than a few things I'm proud of in my life. One of them I'm going to show you, and I'm not going to open it up and show you because I'm about a week behind on it. I've resumed my journal keeping again. I wish I'd started doing it much earlier in the pandemic, but in my defense, I would like to think I do a pretty good enough job chronicling my life on social media, plus this thing called YouTube. But I get a lot of satisfaction out of keeping journals. There's nothing quite like being able to look on your life and read and see exactly how you were feeling and what you were doing at a specific point in time in your life. And when you write every day or several times a week, you're able to document your life. And I have calendars too that I obviously have things written down. I have my calendars that I keep my YouTube stuff on, and I have calendars that I have things like medical stuff and family drama and what have you. And those can be helpful in reconstructing journals to try to fill out that year. You want to, to help you to not forget, obviously, and for years later, and maybe people after you're gone to learn about your life. And I'm really doing my best to preserve my journals and maybe translate the chicken scratch handwriting into printed form so that people can appreciate them, even though it's a little scary too, because there's a lot of really personal stuff that the world doesn't know, that I don't know that I ever want the world to know yet, or I don't know because when you have, it's complicated because especially if you're involved in and interested in political things, it can get complicated if you're too honest about everything in your life. But anyway, the important thing is that I'm writing again. And in addition to the musical stuff that I'm working on, and I've discovered that the webcams can be useful for so many things. In addition to the filming and stuff, you can use them like some people use the micro cassette recorders to write notes to themselves, so they didn't have to break out a pen. Or if when you're driving, you certainly don't want to get your eyes off the road. So if you speak something into something, you can have a record of it. So that's another thing that the that the webcams are good for. But I do want to try to find that better webcam. Maybe it'll improve the production value again of my videos. The only thing is because it clips on but doesn't attach itself on like the vice way. If I carry it around, it would be hard to keep it stationary. I would probably have to put tape on it or something. But when I find it, maybe. But then again, if it makes my hair look blue, then I won't want to use it unless I could find a way to use a filter to correct so the purple always shows up purple no matter what. And if there's a way to do it, I don't know how to do it. Maybe there's a program that can correct it, or maybe it needs to be corrected after filming, but that seems like a real hassle to do. There is definitely a learning curve for some of this stuff. Okay, it is now 4:12 in the morning, and it looks like there's two people. See, there's two people watching, unless, of course, you have it on yours. Oh, okay. So, I don't know whether I should get ready to call it a night with this or whether I should keep going, because if there's people watching, I'm tempted to keep going, but I think that I'm maybe starting to lose my coherency. And so, yeah, plus think of the playback. So, okay, thank you all for showing up. Everybody that participated, and I really appreciate it. Some of you guys I haven't seen in a long time. So, thanks for checking in on me tonight. And of course, I'm going to be back Tuesday. I don't know if it's live or it's probably going to be something I've edited up. All depends on what's convenient for me. I don't know when next adventure is going to be, and I'm open for that. So, but I will definitely have you along when it happens.
Now you're quiet, boys.
So, if you like this video, you haven't already, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you like me and my content, I welcome you to subscribe. And if you do, hit the bell so it looks like it's ringing, and that way you won't miss anything. There are so many adventures, and I'd like to have you tag along. And sometimes I get caught by security because they frown on filming next to things and next to the games, and I don't know what they think I'm capable of doing, but I don't want to affect them. So if you want to watch my videos, subscribe, and it's fun. And have a good day. Try to get the vaccine. Please stay safe. Don't catch COVID. I need you to be around next time. Talk to you soon. Good night, everybody.
Very nice, Leathur. Very nice. Very nice.